Vikings are 2-0. A tradition is next on Fox.
An early season showdown in the NFC North. From the Metrodome in Minneapolis, Minnesota, it's the Chicago Bears against the Minnesota Vikings. Dick Stockton along with Daryl Johnston and our field analyst Tony Siragusa. For the first time in 20 years, both the Bears and Vikings come in with records of 2-0 to start the season. Here are the key questions. Can the young gun Rex Grossman, who threw for 4 touchdown passes against the Lions last week, keep it rolling against a vastly improved Viking defense? And can the crafty veteran Brad Johnson, who's the oldest quarterback in the league, put up enough points against that vaunted Bears defense? They've given up only 7 so far this year. And to no one's surprise, the answer to these questions, Daryl, usually lies up front in the offensive line.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be great this afternoon. This is the NFC North, the old black and blue division. The offensive lines have been a staple. And we've talked a lot about Rex Grossman in the passing game for Chicago. But make no mistake, they are a running team. And the same thing is trying to be established in Minnesota with first-year coach Brad Childress. He wants to do the same thing that Lovie Smith did in Chicago. Tough defense and a great running game. And you can see that with his additions of Steve Hutchinson, the offensive guard, and also running back Chester Taylor.
Now, Daryl, they called for Rex Grossman's hide in preseason, and now all of a sudden he's the top-rated passer in the NFL. Did you expect Rex to come out of the gate this fast?
I did not. You go from a guy who was in the midst of a cornerback controversy during training camp to leading the NFL in passer rating in week 2, and I think everybody is surprised unless you're in the Chicago Bears organization. And one guy who's not impressed, Darren Sharper, free safety for the Minnesota Vikings. He says the success that Chicago has had throwing the ball is in direct correlation to who they've played the first 2 weeks, and it's not going to happen against the Minnesota Vikings defense. And when you talk Chicago, Minnesota, it's a divisional game. You get some of these extra things, and Tony Siragusa's got a little bit more down on the sidelines.
Absolutely do. You know, Daryl, every player in the NFL at some point during the season gets to play against that one guy that they really can't stand. Today we have that matchup. Olin Kreutz and Pat Williams. These two guys have a history of bad blood between them and will be going at each other all day long.
All right, Tony, that's one of many we'll be watching. So coming up, the kickoff between the Bears and the Vikings.
You're watching Fox Sports, broadcasting in HD and presented by DirecTV.
And whether you are a baseball or football fan, this is a great time to be in Minnesota with the Twins challenging in the American League Central. And the Vikings off to a 2-0 start. Vikings will get the ball first. Robbie Gould will be kicking off. And there is Troy Williamson, who has been bothered with a sprained shoulder, questionable for much of the week. He is playing at wide receiver and obviously returning kicks as well. Bears have not beaten the Vikings in the Metrodome in 5 years, and the opening kickoff fielded by Williamson on the 6th. And he is stopped short of the 20-yard line. So the Minnesota Vikings, who have scored only 2 touchdowns so far this year, looking to upgrade their offense in this one. And Brad Johnson, and all he has done is win. He has led 3 different teams to the playoffs, including the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to a Super Bowl. And at 38 years old, the oldest quarterback in the league, and the Vikings will start from the 19. Long count and play action on first down, and the pass is caught by Williamson. He gets the first down and much more, and brings it up near the 40-yard line with Nathan Vasher making the tackle. So a big 19-yard gain on first down. Let's take a look at the rest of the Vikings offensive unit. And Marcus Johnson will be a target for the pass rushers of the Bears.
Yeah, he gave up 3 sacks last week, but Steve Hutchinson brought in not only for his skill as a guard, but also for his nasty disposition.
And the linebackers, or the wide receivers and backs, Troy Williamson in there, Chester Taylor, the chief ball carrier. It is a first down from the 38-yard line. And here is Taylor's first carry of the game. Breaks a couple of tackles and gets into Bears territory where Brian Urlacher makes the tackle and a 7-yard pickup. There's the defensive line, and Tommy Harris, the NFC Defensive Player of the Week.
Yeah, but we're going to watch up that matchup. Marcus Johnston, he'll be going against Adewale Ogunleye today.
And the linebackers and Hunter Hillenmeyer has been out with a concussion, back starting.
Yeah, Lance Briggs also gets a little bit overshadowed by Brian Urlacher.
And the secondary with Danielle Manning, the rookie, getting the start at free safety.
But Mike Brown is your key. He's the quarterback of that defense.
2nd down and 2. Handoff to Taylor. And Taylor is hit by Urlacher and a loss of the play of 2 yards. So Brian Urlacher getting into the swing of things. 2-yard loss.
He's just got such great vision, and then his speed. I don't think people understand how fast he is. He commits to the decision, and he gets into the backfield, makes the hit behind the line of scrimmage.
So it'll be 3rd down and 4, and this is where the Bears have really excelled early on, as opposing teams have converted only 2 of 20 3rd down attempts to lead the league. Johnson out of the shotgun, showing blitz. Here they come. And Johnson lost it. Open receiver. And it's Travis Taylor with the catch. Still on his feet. And finally wrestled out of bounds at about the 20-yard line. Huge play. Johnson to Taylor for 36 yards with the rookie Manning on the coverage.
Well, when you talk about a team that wants to commit to the run, a lot of times I think you consider that group to be conservative. But Brad Johnson told us that this is one of the more aggressive pass offenses he's been associated with. Brad Childress is not afraid to take a shot down the field. You saw a great play design right there. Travis Taylor is in the slot. They get a kind of pick set up with the route coming from the outside in, and he's freed up down the sideline.
So the Vikings threatening. They have the longest active streak, 133 straight games now with a past 20 or more yards. They have a 1st down on the 20. Taylor in motion to the left. Pump fake by Johnson, and the pass overthrown out of bounds. Taylor was the intended receiver, and Vasher was actually closer to the ball.
And I think one of the reasons that you can have an offense with some double moves and some aggressive plays down the field is because Brad Johnson is not going to take that shot if it's not there. He's not going to make the critical mistake that leads to a turnover. So I think Brad Childress has felt very comfortable in adding those plays to the offensive game plan.
Brad Childress, who's the first Viking head coach in history to start out 2-0 in his career. 2nd and 10. Taylor, and he gets hit right at the line of scrimmage by Mike Brown, the strong safety, but picks up a pair.
The one area that Minnesota cannot get into during the course of the day is 3rd and long. And now their target is 3rd and 3 to 6. That's where they consider it to be a manageable 3rd down situation. But they have got to avoid the 3rd and 8s, which they have right now, and anything beyond that.
Well, the Vikings already converted on 1 3rd down, and Lovie Smith, hoping his team tightens up here. Already in field goal range are the Vikings, facing 3rd down and 8. Weldy Moore is the back going out for the pass, and it's caught by Moore but hit immediately by Lance Briggs, and a 4-yard pickup. So no 1st down, but the Vikings get on the scoreboard first.
I think that Lance Briggs is one of the linebackers you're going to start to hear more and more about. Brian Urlacher is the middle linebacker. We all know his name, but Lance Briggs is a guy that in this system that Lovey's brought in is really going to excel.
Ryan Longwell, a great pickup by the Vikings, who's used to kicking in that bad weather in Green Bay, will attempt a 32-yard field goal. He has hit 5 of 7 so far this year. And Longwell's kick is good. So the Vikings score on their first possession of the game. Less than 5 minutes in. Vikings 3, the Bears nothing.
Time for the Fox NFL Sunday, sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 41.
Back here at the Metrodome, Vikings on the opening drive, connecting on a 31-yard field goal by Ryan Longwell. There's the scoring drive, and now Longwell will be kicking off. Rashid Davis is back deep for the Bears. And the kick a little short. And Davis on the 7 fakes a throw and carries it. And the fake pays off because the Vikings froze on the special teams. And he got a lot of extra yards. 36 yards before Denoised Thomas makes the stop. Good start for the Bears.
Fox NFL Sundays, sponsored by Budweiser Select. Brewed longer for a bold taste that finishes clean. Expect everything.
And a bit of trickery by the Bears on their kickoff return, and they have great field position as they start from the 43. Rex Grossman, with his shirt already out, completes the pass to the tight end. And it's Desmond Clark, and it's good for 15 and a first down. Fake lateral here.
Yeah, let's go take a look at this. They're going to kick it off deep. Now, you're going to have your other returner. He's going to move out to the right as this starts to come up. There's your intended receiver, and he freezes this guy right here. Devin Hester coming in, has to respect the outside. Now, that freezes him enough and allows Rashid Davis to get back up inside. They had a nice running lane established.
On the 43 of the Vikings, first down, Thomas Jones with the carry. And Jones backs his way to the 37-yard line, picking up 6 yards. So Jones coming in as the leading rusher, gained only 64 yards last week for the Bears. And there you look at Rex Grossman, who has a gaudy 128.7 passer rating this season. And of course, playing here at the Metrodome, where 2 years ago he blew out his knee in the 3rd game of the season. Last year suffered a broken leg just trying to stay healthy. 2nd down and 4. And the quick out to Muhsin Muhammad. Can't get away from Antoine Winfield, the cornerback. And a gain of about 3. Let's take a look now at the rest of the Bears offensive unit. And a very solid offensive line.
Yeah, not only solid, but they've played together for a long time now, so know each other very well.
Bernard Berrien with a breakout game. Desmond Clark as well last week.
Yeah, the tight end position has really come on in the passing attack this year for the Chicago Bears.
3rd down and 1. Crowd getting into it. Thomas Jones not going to make it. He is stopped short. We'll see where they spot it. Dwight Smith on the tackle. And right now, for a game break, here's Chris Rose in Los Angeles.
All right, Dick, from a pair of 2-0 teams to 2 that are 0-2. You know, Carolina's Keyshawn Johnson told me this week his first return trip back to Tampa after a messy divorce wasn't all that big a story. I still think he's lying. Carolina up 7-zip, and Steve Smith has caught a pass in his first game back. Back to Dick, Moose, and Goose.
Okay, Chris, can't keep the Panthers down forever. The initial spot was very favorable to the Bears, and then they moved it back somewhat. So we're going to have a measurement here. And the Bears are short. And 4th down coming up.
Looks like they're out of field goal range, guys. This would be a good time to go for it.
Yeah, they're sitting right on that cusp. You get around the 33, 34-yard line. That puts a lot of these kickers, even indoors here in the Metrodome, right on that area where it's a risk. So you saw Rex Grossman trot back onto the field. Here come the Bears.
As a defensive lineman also, you got to be ready for that hard count. They want to draw you off sides to get that free first down.
It would have been a 51-yard try by Gold. So on 4th down, the pitch to Thomas Jones going outside. And he'll get the first down. Good patience by Thomas Jones. And he picks up 2 for the first down. Denoised Thomas on the tackle. So the Bears continue to move it.
Gutsy call by Ron Turner, their offensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears. One of the things that has really improved with this Vikings defense this season is their speed and their pursuit. On a critical 4th and 1, he tosses the ball to get onto the perimeter. Thomas Jones, great patience to find a seam.
First down on the Viking 32. Minnesota scoring first on a field goal. Play action for Grossman, in trouble. Getting away, and he goes underneath to Jones, and Thomas Jones makes the grab at the 29, and the ball comes loose. And no signal yet that the ball was blown dead. and recovered by the Bears, and it was Desmond Clark, the tight end, taking a look at the Vikings defensive unit. Kelechi Udeze moving over to the right side. Darian Scott in there because of Erasmus James' injury out for the year.
Yeah, they're really going to miss him. He was really coming on. He was going to have a breakout year.
Napoleon Harris, the middle linebacker. And in the secondary, they're starting the rookie Cedric Griffin from Texas instead of Fred Smoot. It'll be 2nd down and 5 at the 27. And a challenge has come up, a late challenge, but it's before the next play. Lovie Smith talking to the line judge.
Minnesota's challenging the ruling on the field that the runner was not down by contact. We'll take a look at the play.
And it looked like he was, as we see it. Scott Green, the referee, and we're going to take a timeout as they take a look at that Minnesota Vikings challenge. And we're back here at the Metrodome, and the challenge by the Vikings. Here is Scott Green.
After reviewing the play, the runner was down by contact prior to losing possession. The ball will be placed at the 29-yard line. 2nd down. Minnesota is not charged with a timeout.
Explain that one to you when it looked obvious that he was down.
Well, he's down right there. You see the elbow hits the ground. He's down. He had control of the ball. Now the ball comes loose. The big thing is, why do you challenge? Basically, you're taking Chicago from a 2nd and 7 and forcing them to a 2nd and 5. Brad Childress does the challenge, but I mean, you're gaining 2 yards. That shows you what type of game this is going to be. If you're willing to risk a challenge for the sake of gaining 2 yards on 2nd down, they're expecting a pretty tight-fought game today.
And Daryl, that's where you have to depend on your coaches and observers upstairs to really say, is it worth challenging on a play like that where it was pretty clear it wasn't even that close as far as losing the ball.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're going to win the challenge. I mean, you see that you're going to win it, but over 2 yards, the possibility that maybe there's not something there. I don't know. Very interesting early in the game.
2nd down and 5 at the 29. They call it on 2nd and 7, and here's Thomas Jones. Works his way inside the 25-yard line for about 5.5 yards.
Olin Kreutz and Pat Williams going at it in the middle. Looks like Olin really is doing a really good job. They're running straight up the middle, and Pat doesn't look like he's coming off the blocks very well, guys.
And of course, it was last year that Williams' representative felt that Olin Kreutz was leading a campaign to keep him out of the Pro Bowl. That's where it all started.
That's the bad blood.
3rd down and 2 from the 23. Grossman under pressure, has to get rid of it. And the referee taking a long look at that one. Pat Williams storming in on Rex Grossman, who had to get rid of it in a hurry. So there's that Viking defense, as we said, improved this year. 4th down coming up.
Maybe I talked too loud. I think Pat Williams heard me on that one. Looked like a breakdown on the offensive line.
Yeah, there's definitely a breakdown because Olin Kreutz is turning out to his right, and Reuben Brown, the guard that was right next to him, he didn't turn with him. So that allowed Pat Williams to come free right in the middle of your offensive line.
So now a 41-yard field goal attempt by Robbie Gould coming up.
If you want to keep Rex Grossman healthy, you don't want a big guy like Pat Williams laying on him.
Robbie Gould perfect on the year, Tony. 6 for 6.
Well, John Tate had gone off to the side. They were trying to hustle him back on the field for the field goal. He didn't make it in time. Chicago forced to call a timeout because somebody's not paying attention.
Back here in Minnesota, and Wade Wilson, the quarterback coach. There is Brian Greasy on the left. So Robbie Gould with a 41-yard attempt, looking to tie the game. And Gould's kick is good. So a pair of field goals accounting for the scoring here in the first quarter with 6:20 remaining. Bears and Vikings all tied up at 3.
Coach.
Tied at 3 here in the first quarter, and before we start raving about all the defenses, both teams moved the ball pretty smartly. I
very good opening drives. Very good opening drives by both. Minnesota, maybe a little bit more passing involved, but Chicago came out, as we expected, running the football very well. Haven't seen that Rex Grossman that we've read a lot about so far, but this is what you expect. I mean, this is Minnesota, Chicago, the NFC North, the black and blue division. I mean, did we really expect them both to come out and march down the field and score touchdowns?
Artus Pinner is back deep on this kick, and it's a low bounding kick that Pinner, the former Detroit Lion, picks up at the 9-yard line and carries it out to the 34. So the Vikings going on offense. You talked about how the Bears and Darren Sharper are feeling that, playing the likes of Green Bay and Detroit compared to the Vikings, who opened up against Washington and Carolina, two playoff teams from a year ago, as you see the scoring drive for the Bears to tie it up. This is the third straight division game to open the campaign for the Bears. Vikings winning 2 games by virtue of late field goals by Longwell, 1 in overtime. First down at the 33. Chester Taylor with the carry. And Taylor in his first year with the Minnesota Vikings. There's Darren Sharper being worked on.
Maybe a little ankle sprain right there. So one of their defensive leaders on that back tier. And it was interesting to see him say that, I think he respects Rex Grossman. Everybody, you see a guy come out like that, but he's still not a believer. He's still, he wants to see it against this Minnesota defense because it is pressure based. He wants to see how Rex handles that pressure.
Meanwhile, Brad Johnson was 3 for 4 for 60 yards on the first drive. Second down and 8. Play fake. And the pass is thrown very safely at the sideline to Travis Taylor. And he goes out of bounds, picking up 4 yards. And for a game break, let's check in again with Chris Rose in Los Angeles.
All right, Dick, the other 2 NFC North teams doing battle in Motown. Brett Favre to Greg Jennings. He does most of the work for Favre's 400th career TD toss, to 20 shy of Marino's record. By the way, John Kitna is currently 109th career of his career. We're tied at 7. Back to Dick, Moose, and Goose.
All right, Chris, so the other 2 teams in the NFC North doing battle. The Vikings facing 3rd down and 4 at the 39. Maurice Mann has come in at wide receiver. He's in motion, number 17. Former Seattle Seahawk. Again, a play fake. And Brad Johnson going to Williamson underneath. May have enough for the first down. Loses the ball and a scramble. And the initial call is that's recovered by the Vikings. Right at the sticks at the 43.
When you talk about pressure defense, I think sometimes people think that solely means that they're going to blitz, and it's part of their philosophy. But pressure defense is also, once the guy has the ball in their hands, these guys want to get 3 turnovers per game. There's so much pressure on whoever has the ball to secure it and make sure it doesn't get on the ground. So yeah, we're going to pressure your quarterback by bringing blitzes and giving you stunts and doing different things. But also, when that ball gets into the receiver's hands or the running back's hands, we're going to pressure him to check his ball security.
Teams they played had fumbled 4 times, and the Bears recovered all 4 times. And we have a challenge here. So we have our second challenge. The first one by the Vikings, this by Lovie Smith and the Bears. And the referee, Scott Green, over to discuss it with him.
There's a lot of rules out there. It gets very complicated, man. Need explanations.
Well, one of the things that they've opened up this year is down by contact can be overturned. But it's a 2-part equation. Number 1, you have to see if he was down or not. And once you have that, then you have to be able to clearly indicate who got that ball, who recovered that fumble in the bottom of the pile. Now, that might be what's being explained to Lovie Smith right now, because that was a scrum. That was one of those situations where the officials aren't going to be able to determine with any sense of clarity who got that ball. And that's the part 2 of going back and taking a look at that.
So that's the other side of the coin. You can challenge down by contact, but you better be right on both counts, and they could be asking about a possible incomplete pass as well if he didn't hold on to it. So it may not just be a fumble, maybe he didn't have control.
Chicago is challenging the ruling on the field that the runner was not down by contact when he lost possession of the ball.
So we've had 2 challenges, 2 field goals to start the game. Lovie Smith has a terrific Bears team on his hand, trying to win on the road against a divisional foe. We'll be right back in just a moment. Second challenge, and Scott Green still looking at it from upstairs, and it's been the second kind of unorthodox challenge we've had today so far.
Well, you know, they're ruling whether he was down by contact or not. Now, we talked about it. It's a two-part rule. Even if they go back and see, you know what, he wasn't down by contact, but the big problem with that play was you can't clearly define who recovered the football in that pile. I don't even know if they're going to see if he was down by contact.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Chicago is charged, a timeout, first down.
So the Bears left with one timeout remaining in this half, and we still have 4 minutes 10 seconds remaining in this first quarter. Vikings with a first down at the 45. Taylor and Williamson both split to the top of your picture. The other Taylor, Chester Taylor, trying to find running room, and he can't. And a loss on the play at 2 yards. Alex Brown and Lance Briggs, teams that have had success against the Bears, and we saw it last year, Daryl. The Steelers and later on Carolina won because they were able to run against this Bears defense. Yeah, now they're undersized up front, and there's a lot of movement in that defensive line. And if you can catch them when they're moving, you're going to have an opportunity to establish the running game. Ron Rivera, the defensive coordinator, who's incorporated a lot of Lovey stuff, some things he's known from his time in Philadelphia with some new wrinkles, but it's about speed. It's an undersized front. You get a man on a man, you could catch him and create some holes. Loss of 2 brings up second down and 12. And again, as Chester Taylor finds an opening, nifty running by Chester Taylor. He's got the first down inside the 45 of the Bears. Charles Tillman ultimately makes the tackle. 13 for Taylor. Both of these running backs, Thomas Jones and Chester Taylor, you better hit them and wrap them up. Now watch Mike Brown, number 30. He's going to come in right here. You're not going to tackle Chester Taylor going down below his knees. I was surprised to see that was Mike Brown. He's a big physical safety. Usually you see him come up, stick his helmet in there and wrap somebody up. You've got to do that to both of the running backs you're going to see on the field today. And Taylor, who gained 113 last week, first 100-yard game in a Minnesota uniform. And there you see, off to a great start this season. First down on the screen pass, and making the catch is Chester Taylor on the high throw. Taylor driving close to a first down, and a flag comes in late on the far sideline. Brian Urlacher was downfield to try to catch up to Chester Taylor. I guarantee you Ron Rivera is not happy with the tackling right now by his Bears defense. And that would be a 9-yard pickup pending the call.
Holding, offense, number 17, 10-yard penalty, first down.
So Maurice Mann, who was picked up from the Seattle practice squad, number 17, holding right there. You can work downfield as a blocker, but you got to work smart. You're going to run into some linebackers if you're blocking on the outside as a wide receiver. Just go give your body up. Grabbing Hunter Hillenmeyer, so the ball will be set back to the Bears 49-yard line. It'll be first down and now 15. R2's Pinner is into the game as Chester Taylor gets a breather. And the quick toss to Troy Williamson, but the Bears are there, including Urlacher, Nathan Vasher as well, and only a 4-yard pickup.
You know, these little passes that they're throwing to the outside, the defensive linemen, when they see these small passes, have to get off their blocks and turn and run and help these linebackers with these tackles. One of the things you talked about, Tony, trying to get them worn down a little bit here early in the game? Yeah, they're running all over the field, these defensive linemen, and the play action is really stumping these guys up in the front. Second down and 11 for the Vikings. Nearly a minute and a half to go in the first. Showing blitz. Brad Johnston seeing him coming from the secondary and couldn't get rid of it in time, and Nathan Vasher with a late blitz knocking Brad Johnston down and bringing up third down and 11. And a late flag down
What was that bad blood you were talking about, Tony? We're seeing it again.
Well, they talked about it a little bit.
Intentional grounding.
Yeah.
Quarterback. Also loss of down. Third down.
You know, as smart as Brad Johnston is, when you see a blitzer coming scot-free, you do not want to have your arm up in the air and expose those ribs.
Well, that's 2 weeks in a row. Brad had a critical intentional grounding last week against Carolina back in the red zone. But Nathan Vasher, he's late. And there's the ribs exposed that Tony talked about. But, I mean, for him to be able to get there, I mean, I thought there was no way. I thought it was such a late blitz. There's no way he's going to get to Brad Johnston in time.
And he made a good charge because he kept his helmet away. Otherwise, he would have been called for roughing the passer. Loss of 11, sending the Vikings back to their own 44-yard line. Brad Johnston going underneath to Mwelde Moore. Moore got by one tackler and is finally down at the 46 of the Bears. Vasher again and Ricky Manning Jr. in the secondary. They get 10 yards back, but it's fourth down, and Minnesota will have to punt.
Well, Minnesota's had some critical penalties during the course of this early season, and right there, that's an example of what they've been doing. They go from a 2nd and 1, they have the holding, puts them back, then they have the intentional grounding. Next thing you know, they're punting the ball.
So Chris Kluwe with his first kick of the game. And the rookie Devin Hester ran back a punt for a touchdown against the Green Bay Packers, calling for the fair catch. And it takes a Chicago bounce and goes out of bounds just around the 30-yard line. And a flag down. Hester had an 84-yard touchdown return on a punt against the Packers in the opening game.
Holding, number 52, receiving team, during the kick, 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick, first down.
So the good field position is erased as Jamar Williams is called for holding. Games with playoff implications coming up this week on Fox Saturday Baseball at 1 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. So the Bears will start from the 16-yard line. And Fred Smoot, the veteran cornerback number 21 who did not start, there you see him at the bottom, is in the lineup right here. Flag is down, handoff to Thomas Jones. And they're going to blow the play dead with a false start call against Chicago.
False start, offense, number 88, 5-yard penalty, first down.
So it's the tight end Desmond Clark. So first down and 15 as they move it back toward the Bears goal line.
Well, we saw 2 pretty efficient drives to start the game with, and we're starting to get followed up with some sloppy play on the next 2 opportunities by these offenses.
First down and 15, Rex Grossman. 5 touchdown passes, 1 interception. Delay to Thomas Jones, trying to go outside, and a great tackle is made by Antoine Winfield, and a loss of 2.5 yards. And right now for a game break again, here's Chris Rhodes in Los Angeles.
All right, Dick, a pair of winless teams down in Houston lighten up the scoreboard. Mark Brunell to Antoine Randall-El, who isn't even down in your backyard game. Doesn't get touched and then goes for a Sunday skip. And he sticks the landing as well. Redskins up 14-7. Back to Dick, Moose, and Goose.
All right, Chris, so the Redskins looking to get into the win column, and the clock is going to wind down and end the first quarter with the score. The Bears 3 and the Vikings 3. And Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages. Third down and 9. And the slant pass caught by Rasheed Davis. And the Bears get a first down at the 38. Roniel Whitaker with the play, 21 yards. And you can see how sharp Grossman is throwing a couple of lasers.
Well, this is a guy that Lovie Smith is really high on, Rasheed Davis. You saw the opening kickoff, great speed, and now we're starting to see multiple threats on the outside for this offense.
Well, Darren Sharper said, I'm not yet convinced about Rex Grossman. He hasn't gotten him in the end zone for a touchdown, but he's looked sharp there, getting him out of trouble. Here he is down the middle, and this pass is caught by Muhsin Muhammad. And Muhammad with a first down to the 39. And a gain of 23 yards with Dwight Smith, the veteran free safety, on the tackle. Grossman from the 8 looks awfully sharp here.
He really does. And I talked to Wade Wilson before the game on the field, and he said one of the things that they have to do with Rex, he's naturally aggressive down the field. He said the hardest thing for us to do is get him comfortable in checking the ball down. And you can see on those last 2 plays, a lot of confidence in his ability to get the ball down the field.
And Thomas Jones, the running back, goes in motion. First down, flag down. And this one is caught by Berrien as he goes out of bounds. And it would be another Chicago first down pending the call. So a busy afternoon so far for Scott Green and his crew.
Illegal shift, offense, 2 men moving, 5-yard penalty, first down.
I think Lovie Smith is upset about the fact that Minnesota is bringing pressure and they're getting all the way up to the line of scrimmage right before the snap. I mean, I don't know how their offensive line is disciplined enough to stay in on that. That has got to be a flag. You can't do that defensively. I think that's what Lovie Smith was upset about on that last play.
Olin Kreutz has to snap that ball. If one of the linemen or linebackers going to cross that line of scrimmage, it's offsides. He needs to snap the ball if he sees that.
And it's right in front of him, Tony, so he sees it. First down and 15 from the 44, and Grossman under big-time pressure, and the pass incomplete to Berrien, but once again the Vikings storming in on Rex Grossman.
And that's the area that Darren Sharper wanted to see how Rex Grossman would respond when they bring their pressure. And this is another defense that's come out of the Tony Dungy tree. Mike Tomlin came out of that Tampa Bay system, but it's not exactly like what you see the Chicago Bears run or Rod Marinelli in Detroit. There's a lot more pressure. There's a lot more single safety coverage in Minnesota's version of the Tampa 2. So you're going to see a lot of blitzes today.
Grossman is 6 of 8 for 73 yards. It's 2nd and 15. Again giving ground, and he's trying to get it out to his tight end Gabe Reed, who was active for the first time. But Ben Lieber, the former San Diego Charger, putting pressure on Grossman again.
And if you don't adjust to it, if you don't respond to it, you're going to continue to get it during the course of the game. The last 2 plays, they've been having some penetration in the middle. Ben Lieber comes late. Thomas Jones, I don't know if they were trying to run a screen and he got caught up in the shuffle. Ben Lieber had him man-to-man in coverage, and as soon as Thomas Jones locked up, he came on a late blitz.
And it looks like the Bears' offensive line have their hands full with that group.
They are big up front. They are in the tackles. Kevin and Pat Williams, some big guys in the middle.
3rd down and 15. Grossman again under pressure, has to get rid of it in a hurry. And that is a great sequence for the Minnesota Viking defensive unit as Kelechi Udeze and Roniel Whitaker again
all
put
the way
pressure
to the inside. It's Ray Edwards looping all the way into the insides, but we've got a late flag on the play.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 88, offense, 15-yard penalty, it's 4th down.
Desmond Clark.
There's that divisional game again, Tony. There's going to be on your tight end, Desmond Clark. He had a little hold there.
The defensive line does a great job of recognizing which way Olin Kreutz is sliding, and they're bringing that outside end around, and he can't see him and he can't find him.
Brad Maynard will kick, and Mewelde Moore back for the Vikings. And I think what the Bears are seeing is a lot more physical, aggressive team than they're used to seeing in Minnesota. Moore down on the 10-yard line, so the Bears have the Vikings hemmed in. 3-3 our score early in the second.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by State Farm. Great service and great rates. You can get it all from State Farm. By Miller Lite and the Men of the Square Table. Good call. By Singular, raising the bar. And by Ford F-Series, built for bold moves. Built Ford tough.
Enthusiastic crowd here at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. The Vikings coming off of 2 close wins, one on the road in Washington, the other in overtime last week in a fourth quarter rally against the Panthers. 3-3 the score. It'll be a first down on the 10 for the Vikings. Making the catch, Travis Taylor, his 3rd catch of the game. Tony?
You know, Chicago, we talked about the defensive line. Right here, if you look at number 99, Tank Johnston, he goes, he comes inside, he gets tied up. The ball is released downfield. The good thing he does on this play is he turns, comes back, and gets involved in the play downfield and is actually in on the tackle. This is when you could force turnovers by getting the ball out. You see him right there, Tank, boom, nice, 300 pounds laying on him. Now it's time to go and tire out that running backs.
And he very nearly got a hand on the pass too, Moore. First down for Minnesota on the 23. And here is Chester Taylor. The running game has not been there for either team so far today. Taylor gets it out to the 25 for a minimal gain. Adewale Ogunleye making the tackle, and slow getting up is Ogunleye. And he's so key for the Bears. 10 sacks last year and a vital part of their defensive line, and he'll have to come out. Here are the offensive leaders. Good percentage completions department for Brad Johnson. And the rest. Travis Taylor with his 3rd catch. Mark Anderson, rookie from Alabama, has taken Ogunleye's spot. Again, Chester Taylor, but the Bears are there. And it'll be a loss of 1 yard. Hunter Hillenmeyer.
Nathan Vasher, just a great play. He's in coverage on the outside. All of a sudden, he's going to come on the blitz. He's going to come in right into your screen right here. Now, this is on a blitz. Here he comes. You can't account for that guy. I mean, we're seeing right now the Chicago Bears. That's the 2nd time that Nathan Vasher has come late and has got there to make a big play.
We have seen the defensive lines dominant here in this game. It'll be 3rd down and 9. Vikings on their 24. He's got time, and Brad Johnson completes to Travis Taylor, and Taylor is not going to get the first down, and a whole host of white-shirted Bears knock him down, led by Ricky Manning Jr. And Ricky Manning Jr., who started the Super Bowl with the Carolina Panthers as a rookie, and a 3-yard gain, bringing up 4th down.
Well, obviously, Travis Taylor did not pay attention in film this week. If you're playing the Chicago Bears defense, catch the ball, turn around, go north and south, and get upfield. Give what you can. The longer you wait, the more times you're going to get hit. That's it, about 6, 7 guys. I mean, you can see the pursuit on film. You've got to know your opponent.
Lovie Smith, we want to fly around, not do any thinking, and play fast. And that's what the Bears did there as Chris Kluwe's punt. Good hang time. Devin Hester on the return, and he gets clobbered from behind and is down at the 31-yard line. 46-yard punt, and another penalty marker is down. So let's hold it a minute. 3-3 and another flag. Preliminary signal is that the penalty is against Chicago.
All I know is I saw a body being slammed on the turf somewhere. I don't know who it was, but I know it hurt.
Unnecessary roughness after the play. Number 33, offense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Charles Tillman.
He's pleading his case. Doing a good job right there. But you just don't got to finish it.
He finished it there. Timeout. We'll be right back. Both teams moved the ball well on their first possession. Now it's settled down to a defensive game with the lines. The defensive lines taking charge. 1st and 10 at the 17 for the Bears. They've been penalized already 5 times. Play action, and Grossman up the middle and nearly intercepted. And it was Darren Sharper who almost took it home.
He's sleeping back there. He's got his eyes on him, Moose.
Yeah, but if you're gonna talk the talk, you better walk the walk. He called him out before the game. Says, I'm not a believer yet. I think if we pressure him, we can get to him, have him make a mistake. He's got the chance right there. He's going to take that one to the house for 6 points. You can see the frustration right there.
Darren Sharper leads the NFL in interceptions since the year 2000. Muhammad was the intended receiver. 2nd and 10, Thomas Jones. And Jones carries it past the 20-yard line, getting 4 yards. Pat Williams making the tackle on Thomas Jones. Rex Grossman, nearly a 50% passer thus far. Jones averaging 2 yards a clip. And Muhsin Muhammad leading with 2 receptions for the Bears. 3rd down and 6 for Chicago. Both these teams coming in 2-0. First time they've been that way to start the year since 1987. And there's the slant, dropped by Berrien. Bernard Berrien had it with no defender around him and dropped the ball. So 4th down coming up, and the Bears will have to kick.
They got double slants coming. Bernard Berrien on the outside. He's open. It's just on his back shoulder a little bit, but he needs to make that catch. It's 3rd and 6. He's got enough yards for the first down because right now Minnesota has really kind of taken the momentum of this game with their defensive stand the last time they were on the field, and they needed that play to try and get it back.
And a good punt by Brad Maynard. Mewelde Moore on the 26. And the Bears special teams, rated #1 in the NFL, closed down in a hurry. And that was Cameron Worrell. Timeout. 8:39 remaining in the first half, still tied at 3. Nearly halfway through the second quarter, tied 3-3. And Daryl, we know that the Bears are one of the elite teams in the NFC, but it's been a lot of years since we've seen a Minnesota Viking team that plays it tight, close to the vest, tough defensive, aggressive team.
Yeah, when Minnesota's had success recently, you go back to Denny Green, and it was that explosive offense with Rod Smith and Randy Moss and Chris Carter, Dante Culpepper. It wasn't about pounding the football, establishing the run, and playing great defense, and that's the way that Minnesota is built right now with Brad Childress.
First down on the 35, the handoff to Chester Taylor, and Taylor picks up about 4 yards with Mike Brown making the tackle. And for a game break, let's check in again with Chris Rose.
All right, Dick, let's call off the search dogs, at least for one drive. Tampa, its first touchdown of the season. Chris Sims to Joey Galloway. That's the good news. Bad news, Panthers still up by 10. Back to Dick, Moose, and Goose.
Well, that's a big game. Both teams 0-2 going in, Daryl.
Amazing that those teams are 0-2. But there's a bright side for Carolina. They haven't had Steve Smith up until this week.
2nd down and 6. Travis Taylor going in motion. And the handoff and a lost Chester Taylor, not able to get around a fleet of Bear defenders led by Alex Brown. And a 4-yard negative play for Minnesota.
Yeah, they're undersized and they're quick, and I think that Minnesota hopes that they're going to be able to catch them in the movements at times and be able to take advantage of that. But the flip side of that coin is they're undersized and they're quick, and sometimes you just completely miss them.
And the way this game is going, you wonder when the big play or big mistake will occur, or the turnover, which could determine this thing. 3rd down and 10. Mewelde Moore and an empty backfield. Here they come, and they slap the ball away from Brad Johnson. Flag is down, and Johnson is sacked back at the 34-yard line. Alex Brown, who made the last play, put the pressure on this play, and another penalty.
Wow, what a great jump.
Offsides, defense, number 96, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
It looked like a good jump there, Moose, for a minute, didn't it?
It really did. It really did. I mean, he's right on it. And to tell you what, that was not a definitive flag by the linesman either. I mean, he kind of was like, wow, he got there fast. Did he not? I mean, that was awful close.
They saw the empty backfield and they saw blood.
Yeah, maybe not the wisest thing to do in the world is go empty against Chicago's defense.
3rd down and 5. Alex Brown dislocated his right shoulder in preseason. He's okay now. And off the play fake, Brad Johnson goes on a short crossing pattern to Tony Richardson, his fullback, and he's got the first down. So reliable Tony Richardson, 11 years with the Kansas City Chiefs, picks up 8 yards and a first down for the Vikings close to midfield.
Yeah, he never got the credit he deserved in Kansas City with his blocking as a fullback for Priest Holmes and guys like that.
Here are the first 3 possessions for the Vikings. They got the field goal on their first drive and had to kick the last 2. First down for Minnesota on their own 47. Billy McMullen and Maurice Mann are the 2 wide receivers. McMullen, the former Eagle, and the quick out to McMullen And McMullen is stopped maybe 1 yard on the play.
Wonder if they're buddies. They got to be good friends.
I thought I saw that when you guys were on camera right before you went on there. I thought Daryl was holding that up. Is that true or not?
No.
I
would never.
I'll tell you what, you two very good looking though. On the on camera, you guys look very good. Dick Stockton, excellent. Nice tie.
Thank you. Always good to have the critics on your side. Especially one as big as you, Tony. So it'll be 2nd down and 9. You see how stoic that fan in that number 31 Bear jersey was. Straight ahead.
He's focused. It's a product. If you're a fan of the Bears, you got to be like one of the players. nothing wavering.
2nd down and 9 from the 48. And here comes the blitz. And the sling pass to Travis Taylor. And losing the ball, and it's a fumble. And Mike Brown forced it, and it's recovered by the Bears. So what looked like a very promising play of 21 yards turns into a turnover.
Watch the hesitation on the blitz. There goes Lance Briggs, but Nathan Vasher hesitates just for a second. He's not able to get there. Brad Johnston gets it to Travis Taylor, but he can't hold on.
And Mark Anderson recovers for the Bears. Their ball. First turnover of the game, and after a great pass from Brad Johnson to Travis Taylor, he fumbled. Bears have won their last 11 games that they've had a takeaway. They have one now, and the ball on their 29-yard line. First down for Rex Grossman, and his pass nearly intercepted, and it was intended for the tight end Desmond Clark, and the linebacker E.J. Henderson had a better shot at it.
Well, you mentioned it, Dick. The guy that recovered the fumble, Mark Anderson. But number 97, Mark Anderson. There's Mike Brown on the hit that jars it loose. But it's a defensive end down the field who makes the recovery.
It's not only these linebackers that are covering area on this field today for the Chicago Bears, but the defensive linemen are putting their share in, guys.
After a hot start by Rex Grossman, he is 0 for 6. 2nd and 10 at the 29. Here's Thomas Jones. Flag is down. And let's see if we have penalty against the Bears.
Illegal snap by the center. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Interesting. Olin Kreutz, who has this maneuver when he is over the ball.
I talked to him before the game, and he just said that's his adrenaline going. You can see the left hand right there. That wasn't what they called. He sort of hesitated on the snap. Rex has to go and be more definitive when he wants that ball.
So with the penalty, it's now 2nd down and 15. Bears knocked back to the 24. Grossman getting some time, and he completes it to Berrien out of bounds at the 35. Still short of the first down by about 4 yards. And the 12-yard pickup to Berrien, who has really added the speed dimension to the Chicago passing game lately.
Well, the ability to stretch the field in the route that we've continued to see Rex throw very well this afternoon is the deep in route. The deep in route doesn't work unless you can stretch the field vertically, and Bernard Berrien has been that guy, and Rex has always known it. They just have never had the opportunity to work together.
3rd down and 3. Play fake, and the pass up the middle, and it's intercepted. The Vikings bringing it back. Dwight Smith. Dwight Smith, who played for Mike Tomlin, the defensive coordinator in Tampa, picks it off and runs 30.
Here's your example of playing center field. Dwight Smith just sitting right there in the middle of the field. Rex Grossman just floats one up. Now, I don't think that he didn't see Dwight Smith in the middle of the field.
I was standing right behind him, Moose. You could not, Rex could not see over that defensive line. There was 4 defenders. If you look right here, right in the middle of the field, Rex is back there trying to look over everybody. He just lost one up. That's why there was an interception on this play.
So the Vikings get the ball, but unlike the first turnover where the Bears had it in their own territory, Minnesota is in Chicagoland at the 32, first down with 4:32 to go in the half. Play fake, pressure on Brad Johnson. He gets it away to Chester Taylor, and Taylor is stopped at the 27 by Ogunleye, who's back in the game, and a gain of 6 yards.
Again, it's a defensive lineman down the field. Tony pointed it out earlier with Tank Johnson. We saw Mark Anderson recover a fumble down the field. And the big thing on that, it's a slow developing pass play. So Adewale Ogunleye is up the field trying to pressure, and then he's down the field making the tackle.
Good thing they got a rotation on that defensive line, boy. You get tired after a while.
2nd and 5. And the Vikings threatening here. Back-to-back turnovers on similar possessions. Chester Taylor driving toward the sticks, appears to be shy of the first down. Alex Brown making the stop on Taylor, who has gained 25 yards on 11 carries thus far.
Chester Taylor, a guy that backed up Jamal Lewis for several years when he was with the Baltimore Ravens. And one of the things that happens is, you know, Brad Childress, when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles, they got stuck playing Baltimore in the preseason quite a bit. And that's where he first saw him. That's where Chester Taylor impressed Brad Childress, and it was one of the first moves he made once he became head coach of the Minnesota Vikings.
So it's 3rd down and 1. Chester Taylor, and he may have it. Flag is down, so another penalty marker. Tommy Harris, defensive tackle, makes the play.
Holding, offense, number 79, 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
And it's Artis Hicks with the penalty, and that is really a tough one for the Vikings to stomach. They had 3rd down and 1, and this penalty taking them close to being out of field goal range. It's iffy right now for Ryan Longwell.
3rd down and 1. They had 1st down and 10. Now they're back here at 3rd and 11. And you know, not only the penalties, but the timing of the penalties for the Minnesota Vikings the last few weeks has just been unbelievable. Last week they had a 2nd and goal at the 1 taken away because of a holding penalty on Artis Hicks again.
Right now it'd be about a 50-yard field goal for Longwell. 3rd and 11. And the inside handoff to Mewelde Moore. And Moore is going to get some yardage here and stopped short of the 1st down. Alex Brown, and another flag is down.
I think this is going to be your horse collar.
And you don't have to get inside the shoulder pad. You could do it from the top of the jersey now and be called for it. That's one of the new rules.
The biggest part of it is you've got to pull him directly to the ground. You can get him around the jersey up top, but as long as you don't yank him directly to the ground, it's not a horse collar, and that's the point that Lovie Smith is trying to make right now.
Now that's not a penalty in my eyes, guys.
You're going to see his hand. He gets up on the top. He's got the jersey, but he doesn't yank him down.
Unnecessary roughness on the tackle. Against the defense. Horse collar tackle. Half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
Some very serious injuries have happened over the last few years. They put it in last season and said you couldn't get your hand inside the shoulder pad. This year they added if you grab the jersey and do it. And you can see how he goes down awkwardly, but you never saw that yank straight down. He kind of rode him to the ground. So, Tony, I'm on board with you.
I mean, that's so hard to make a tackle. Once you have something to grab onto, you can't release it. You've got to hold on to it. He does a good job of trying to get his hand around the waist and knock him down with taking his legs out. But it's very, very hard not to tackle when you have a grab or something.
So a critical penalty, this time against the Bears, and giving the Vikings a 1st down on the Chicago 12-yard line. There's Alex Brown on the sidelines right now, replaced by Mark Anderson, the rookie. Bears have committed 8 of the 11 penalties thus far. Chester Taylor, and doesn't get much. No gain on the play, and winding down toward the 2-minute warning, and the Vikings will wait till the clock gets to that point as Brad Johnson heads to the sideline. Brian Urlacher with an opinion down there. So we're at the 2-minute warning here in the 1st half with the score, the Vikings 3 and the Bears 3.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Visa. Go on, live life, and remember that no matter what it takes, life takes Visa.
2-minute warning here at the Metrodome. We're tied 3-3 as early field goals by each team look like we might get into more of a scoring format today, but the defenses have taken over since then. There's Ryan Longwell, who threw a touchdown pass last week in the win over Carolina, has won 2 games with late 3-pointers, waiting just in case. It'll be 2nd and 10 at the 11. Vikings have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Play action. And the catch is made by Jim Kleinsaucer, veteran tight end, with his first reception of the game. Gets to the 9. Pickup of about 3.
Brad Johnston's got to give him a little bit better pass out there. If you get that out in front of him, he has the opportunity to turn upfield and maybe outrun Mike Brown to the corner, or at least get able to square his shoulders and drag him for a few extra yards. But he had to kind of wait on that on the back hip and just never materialized.
Moose, you talk about being aggressive on your tackles. This is one spot where the Chicago Bears cannot go and mess up a tackle. You have these short tackles that are going to score a touchdown.
3rd down and 7. And on the rollout and unable to hold on to the ball is ruled incomplete to Travis Taylor, as the official was right there to see whether he had control. 4th down, and Ryan Longwell will come on with 1:12 on the clock to try to give the Vikings the lead again.
Tightening up in the red zone, and again Minnesota continues to struggle. As you pointed out, they've kicked a lot of field goals this year.
Longwell from 31. This one from 26, the attempt.
Looks like they're keeping Urlacher in backfield there just in case it is a fake.
And the kick by Longwell is perfect, and the Vikings take a 6-3 lead. Of course, you know, when you see the fake, they all play for it the next week, and they never do it again for a while. So there's Travis Taylor, who leads the Vikings with 5 receptions. And a field goal game here, with 1:08 remaining in the first half. Stay tuned to Fox Sports for the second game of our doubleheader. You'll see either the Giants and the Seahawks, Eagles, 49ers, or Rams at Cardinals. Giants losing to the Seahawks in overtime last year. 49ers look improved. So that'll be the second half of our Fox NFL doubleheader.
I think the whole NFC West looks improved. It's not going to. Seattle is not going to run that division this year. I'll make that prediction right now. Seattle will not go 6-0 in the West.
Not running the ball like they did the last couple weeks.
And going back deep for the Bears is Devin Hester with 1:08 to go. Ryan Longwell will kick it for Minnesota. The Bears have 1 timeout remaining. Hester, the rookie from Miami, and he is upended, and a terrific play made, and the play is blown dead by Artus Pinner. 1:04 remaining in the half. Pinner came over from the Lions, another NFC North foe. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, Curt Menifee will be in Seattle with Terry, Howie, and Jimmy with scores and highlights from around the league. And the Fox Sports ticker has up to the second scores and stats. So Rex Grossman, 7 of 15 for 85 yards, and his interception by Dwight Smith resulted in that last field goal. And on first down, the pass caught to Bernard Berrien. Berrien running after the catch, getting to the 41-yard line, or the 39, that is, with Winfield on the stop, a pickup of 21.
That is the one pass that Rex Grossman has thrown very, very well this afternoon. That deep in route, great timing, great chemistry with his wide receivers.
40 seconds to go. Grossman had to hesitate. Desmond Clark and Muhsin Muhammad were in the same area, about a couple of yards away, and there was a little hesitation on the part of Rex Grossman.
A little bit indecisive right there, and you don't know if it maybe was some confusion by the wide receivers. You mentioned 2 guys in the same area. You don't want to force those into that situation. That's one of the things that Rex is going to have to learn moving forward, similar to what Brad Johnston does. Don't make a bad play in these situations.
Second down and 10 on the 39 of the Bears. Pressure up the middle. Grossman gets hit, and the pass flag is down, and it is ruled an incompleted pass. Dwight Smith again was playing center field, and slow getting up for the Bears is Rasheed Davis. So almost a carbon copy to the previous play when Smith intercepted and set up the field goal, but the penalty discussed here.
Interference, defense. Number 21, first down.
Big penalty. Fred Smoot, the cornerback, and a first down into Minnesota territory.
Well, it looked like there was some contact on Rasheed Davis at the end of that. I don't know. He got up when he was up in the air.
I think he interfered with Musa Muhammad on the top.
On the outside.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's where the foul was. Robbie Gould getting set for a possible field goal attempt. 29 seconds remaining. 17 yards as a result of that penalty. First down at the 44. Grossman's pass. And let's see if Muhammad holds on. And it is a catch by Musa Muhammad, a tough one, with Antoine Winfield on his back. And a timeout is called by the Bears.
Well, that's Chicago's last timeout of the half. Now we got 19 seconds left, and one of the things that coaches will practice during the course of training camp into the regular season is how long does it take you to get your kicking team on. Now they've just added a couple seconds, so we're at 22. They've got plenty of time if they throw the ball into the middle of the field and are tackled to get their team rushed out and have an opportunity to get a field goal off. Usually you need around 16, 17 seconds, so they've got that buffer. There's an opportunity for them to take the middle of the field if they feel a big play is there.
They're already getting the guys together on the sideline for that kick, Moose, the Chicago Bears.
And Robbie Gould, who has yet to miss this year, as you saw, his career long kick is 45. Bears on the Viking 42. 22 seconds to go, out of timeouts. And Grossman going to the sideline. And let's see if there's a catch. And Musa Muhammad kept both feet in, and the Vikings are complaining. Antoine Winfield says he did not have control.
Yeah, he turned around and pointed to his coaching staff and said to look up at the Jumbotron so you can take a look at this. He never established control before he rolled out of bounds.
And it's under 2 minutes. It can't be a challenge. It has to come from upstairs inside the 2-minute warning. But it looked like Muhammad did not have control.
He established control once he got out of bounds.
We will review the previous play.
Everybody in this whole stadium was looking over that Jumbotron to see the replay, guys.
You can see it's loose there, but he actually does a great job here of getting his hand underneath, but he never establishes complete control until he's out of bounds.
The clock, of course, stopping with 17 seconds to go, and you can see Brad Childress in the background pointing upstairs and saying he did not have control. And so they are checking it out now. Scott Green will make the decision. Right now the ball is on the 32 of the Vikings. Musa Muhammad, who has been the reliable receiver for the Chicago Bears, so far second in receiving this year to Desmond Clark, the tight end.
They've gotten a lot of guys involved in this passing game. I think we get focused on Bernard Berrien because of the big plays and the touchdowns, but Desmond Clark has done great. Really, the whole tight end position, even Jason McKee, the fullback. They've got some weapons, and it's a balanced passing attack.
How about John Gilmore with 2 touchdown catches last week against Detroit? Another look.
It's actually a great catch by Musa Muhammad. I don't know how he gets his hands underneath right there without letting the ball hit the ground, but he just never establishes control until he's out of bounds.
And I'm not sure the ball didn't really scrape the turf before he gathered it under him. Anyway, a long look by Scott Green.
Yeah, which is unusual because whether he got his hands underneath or not, he never had control until he got out of bounds. So, I think it becomes a situation where it's not even a question of whether he gets his hand underneath right there. because he's out of bounds. He doesn't have control. His head is on the hits the ground on the out of bounds marker.
So we've had 2 challenges and a booth review here in the first half.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is incorrect. The pass is incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 8 on the 42-yard line.
So they'll move it back 10 yards. 17 seconds on the clock. The Bears are out of timeouts.
Well, now you're right on the fringe of that time needed to get your kicking team out because you don't have any timeouts. So, you know, Minnesota, they're going to play the outside of the field heavy. They're going to play the sidelines heavy. I think you can get it done. I think you can get your guys out there. If you've got a shot to get a big one down the middle of the field to make this a makeable field goal, I say you go ahead and do it.
3 wide receivers, Muhammad Berrien and Rasheed Davis. And another conference. Wade Wilson of the Bears, quarterback coach. Brad Childress, who was the offensive coordinator under Andy Reid, checking the spot of the ball.
That 2 yards that they just changed right there could be a big difference in this field goal.
No question about it, Tony. You mentioned the career long for Robbie Gould is 45 yards. 3rd down and 8. Pressure and another penalty marker thrown. And a false start call against the Bears. 5 more yards. And now it's getting really iffy for the Bears.
False start, offense, number 80. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Now can they make a decent pass and have enough time?
Well, they're going to put the time back on the clock because it's a dead ball foul, so you're still at 17. So you can still do it. But I mean, on those routes, it didn't look like they had any intention. They had their sideline routes. They've got underneath checkdowns. You know, that's the big thing. You get a guy that catches the ball underneath and he's trying to break tackles. You're losing that time off the clock, and then you can't get your kicking team out.
3rd down and 13. More important, the ball is back to the 47-yard line of the Vikings. And here is Grossman getting hit as he throws, and the pass is caught by Muhsin Muhammad, and Muhammad is down, and now come the race against the clock. The clock is running. They can't stop it. 23-yard gain, and they're not going to make it. The half will end. They were between a rock and a hard place. If you throw long enough, you're not going to get them out in time.
But Muhsin Muhammad needed to go right to the ground.
And that's the end of the first half. We're all looking at a 6-3 Minnesota lead.
The Visa Halftime Report is sponsored by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Life takes Visa.
The crowd getting revved up for Game 2 of our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. Curt, Menifee, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy. Games 1 already underway. And in the NFC North, the Vikings leading the Bears by a field goal at halftime. Another 20. All right, Howie, you like defense, so you've got to like what's going on between Minnesota and Chicago.
Yeah, it's almost a mirror image of last week's game with Minnesota and Carolina. And as Jimmy likes to say, it's not the team that makes the most big plays, it's a team that makes the fewest mistakes. And Rex Grossman under pressure throws the ball up for a pick. That leads to their 2nd field goal for Minnesota. Then they hit Muhammad down the middle. Chicago does, but they don't get the field goal team on the field in time. In a game like this, Jimmy, little things like that make a big difference.
Yeah, and Chicago on the road with 9 penalties, which is a concern. Now, I can't say enough about the coaching staff of Minnesota. Not only, everybody's talking about Brad Childress doing a great job, but also defensive coordinator Mike Tomlin, who came from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's got that defense really playing well for Minnesota.
Minnesota holding the ball for almost 20 minutes. Will that play a role in the second half?
All right, the second half of that game coming your way when we continue with the Visa Halftime Report. Stay with us.
Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL.
You see that?
And at halftime, the Bears mulling over what kind of challenge they're getting from the Vikings today, and it's a big one. Minnesota 6-3. We'll be right back. And the teams coming out on the field, Minnesota leading 6-3. You know, this game is kind of reminiscent of the vintage, not NFC North, NFC Central Vikings with Bud Grant and the Chicago Bears in the Monsters of the Midway days. That's what we're seeing here.
Well, we talked about it at the top. These are how these teams are built. They're built around tough defense and the running game, and that's what we saw out there today. And, you know, sometimes you see a score that's 6-3 and you think it's a poorly played game. This is just a great defensive battle, and they're really slowing down the running games. You get into that, you know, who's going to stay committed to it? Who's not going to get frustrated?
And the hits came from all over the place. And when you look at the yardage in the game, I mean, the Vikings have 178, the Bears 146. That's not paltry considering the score of 6-3.
No, it's really not. And again, it goes to the defenses. And it really could become a situation where who makes that one critical mistake first? And then all that momentum will shift, and it'll be difficult for them to get back.
All right, we're going to take a look at the halftime statistics, and that's what they look like. Each team with one turnover, although the Dwight Smith interception resulted in a Viking field goal. So what do you now foresee, Daryl, in the second half?
Well, I think we're going to see the same of what we saw in the first half. You know, Brad Childress has a plan. He's going to play the game in a certain style. You know, some people want to say close to the vest or conservative, but his teams are always going to have an opportunity to win late. So I don't expect to see much to change. If there's an opportunity for something there, you know, Brad Johnston will be able to find it. Chicago's what Chicago is. You know, they're going to flying around on defense, big hits, and they've got to get Thomas Jones. They've got to get him to break a big run.
Ryan Longwell kicking off to start the third quarter. Rashid Davis, yard or two in the end zone on the return. And he gets it up close to the 30-yard line. Call it the 28. Interesting, in this defensive battle, we have had no quarterback sacks in this game.
They've been close. Had a couple of groundings.
And Rex Grossman, who has completed 10 of 20 for 132 yards and the interception. Bears will start from the 28-yard line.
He got off to a great start, but then Minnesota gave him a heavy dose of pressure in that second quarter, and he really didn't handle it that well. So I expect to see Minnesota come out and start the pressure again.
Thomas Jones on first down, trying to go outside, and Ben Lieber halts him for no gain. Tony, your views of the first half and what we expect.
Well, I had a chance to talk to Lovie Smith. He said the only thing he was concerned about on the offense was Rex. He didn't want him to be forcing any throws. He said he needs to calm down. If the play isn't there, don't force it in there. Throw it out or take the sack. He'll take that, but he doesn't want any more turnovers.
And the Bears defense has been on the field a lot more than the Vikings, almost a 2-to-1 ratio. There's Grossman today, as you mentioned, no sacks, Moose, but hit 7 times, had to hurry it up. Second down and 11, gets pressure again, and the pass to Muhammad makes the catch as a flag goes down at the 40. Muhsin Muhammad with a 22-yard grab. Antoine Winfield on the coverage to the 49, pending the call.
Holding, defense, number 58, penalties decline, first down.
14th penalty in the game. Napoleon Harris, the middle linebacker, on the hold, so the big gain holds up for the Bears.
Yeah, and what a great job by Rex Grossman standing in the pocket. The protection's kind of breaking down on him, and he gets that ball out to a spot. That was a great start to the second half for Rex Grossman.
Right.
On the Bears side of midfield, first down. Grossman will swing it out to Thomas Jones. Jones puts a juke on and goes out of bounds just shy of the first down. Antoine Winfield got faked out of his shoes, and Jones gets about 9.
He's coming up. He's in good position right there. Wow. There's not many that wouldn't have done the splits like Antoine Winfield did. That's just a great move in the open field.
I don't know if it's getting beat like that or knowing that every team in the league is going to see it. What's more embarrassing?
I don't know. You got to give him a little bit of slack on that. That was a great move by Thomas Jones.
Jones had only 14 yards and 6 rushes at the half before that move. Second down and 2. So we got 8, and the quick out to Muhsin Muhammad, and he'll lunge for the first down. Fred Smoot made the hit, and another flag goes down. A penalty-filled game between these two NFC North rivals. The Bears had 9 penalties in the first half.
Unnecessary roughness, defense, number 24, 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's Dwight Smith. So 2 penalties called against the Vikings on this drive.
You're going to see Musa Muhammad is down. Dwight Smith's coming in.
That's just dumb right there.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
You can be aggressive, you can be physical, but you got to play smart. Don't put yourself in the position for the official to make the call.
The Bears had 3 unsportsmanlike penalties in the first half when they were called 9 times. Now they're moving it, first down on the 26 of Minnesota. Opportunity here for Rex Grossman. Hits the tight end Desmond Clark, who gets inside the 10. Smooth on the coverage, but a 17-yard pickup. And the Bears looking rhythm offensively for the first time today, Daryl.
Yeah, we haven't seen this kind of execution since the beginning of the game in that first half. And Desmond Clark, he's really starting to develop a rapport with Rex Grossman, and it's kind of that exact route right there. Just kind of come out, find that soft spot in the zone, about 10, 12 yards off the line of scrimmage. And boy, that's one thing you don't want to see. Desmond Clark limping off the field right there, because he has been a critical element in their passing game so far this season.
And there you see what the tight ends have done. 3 touchdowns last week, matched the entire season total of Bear tight ends last season. And here's Thomas Jones, and he is stopped for no gain by Pat Williams. And
that battle's still going on with Pat Williams and Olin Kreutz, and Pat Williams right there just coming off a nice block and great tackle by him. You can see the frustration on Olin Kreutz's face right there.
A little quick film study, huh? Take a look at the Jumbotron, find out what happened on that play.
Meanwhile, Desmond Clark, who went out for 1 play, is back in the game at tight end. 2nd down and goal at the 9. Grossman fires, and it's caught at the 5, and McKee loses it. And the ball is jarred loose, and it'll be recovered by the Bears at about the 10-yard line. And now Desmond Clark looks to be shaken up again.
He might have tried to get back in the lineup a little bit too quickly.
Sometimes that adrenaline goes and kicks in. You think you can do more than you actually can.
He looks okay coming off. Oh, there he goes right there. Wow. When a player pulls up with nobody around him and nobody pushing him or putting their body weight on him, that is not a good sign.
Desmond Clark came into the game as the leading receiver for the Bears. Caught a 31-yard touchdown pass last week. Lovie Smith telling us how much the tight ends have gotten into the act, and Clark especially from the first day of camp.
That was the thing that, you know, it's not just this season. He's earned the right to have the success he started the season with because of his work in the offseason. You know, he was at all the OTAs, the offseason program. He actually dropped about 12, 15 pounds, got himself lighter, better condition.
OTA, it's a good club to be in, huh?
Official training activity.
That's a big term nowadays. You don't show up for that, you're in trouble. Even if you don't show up for voluntary workouts.
There's no such thing as voluntary workouts in the NFL.
Well, Clark is going to be limping off. That's not good news. Going on to the cart, Gabe Reed, who was inactive the first 2 games, number 82, taking his place. Now it looks like Lovie Smith had thrown the challenge flag.
We've had some strange ones today.
Yes, starting from the very beginning, and let's see if it's a
Chicago is challenging the ruling on the field that it is an incomplete pass.
Well, we take a quick look, even before the referee does. Looked like it got knocked loose before his knee hit the ground.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 41. By Lowe's, for all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, let's build something together. By Schick Quattro Titanium, the power of 4 meets titanium. And by Hummer, like nothing else.
Here's Scott Green.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. It's an incomplete pass. That is Chicago's last challenge. 3rd down.
Well, you saw the defender with his hands inside, so I guess they're saying that Jason McKee was never able to establish possession. You see the hands in there right now. My big question was if it was a completion, which I think Lovie Smith was trying to determine with the replay, it'd be 3rd and goal from the 5 as opposed to the 9.
3rd and goal at the 9, and most important, the Bears cannot challenge anymore today. Early here in the 3rd quarter. Here's Grossman. His pass is caught by Rasheed Davis, and Davis is going to be hit at the 6. 4th down coming up, and the Bears will try to tie it up with a field goal as Winfield and Sharper combine to make the play. Bears also have only 2 timeouts left in this game, and the way this is shaping up in a tight game, you want everything in your back pocket. Timeouts, challenges, you name it.
Yeah, maybe more than the timeouts, the challenges. Right. No challenges.
24-yard attempt. Robbie Gould connected from 41 earlier. And Robbie Gould's kick is good. And in a field goal derby here at the Metrodome in Minneapolis, Bears have tied it 6-6 with the Vikings.
Fox NFL Sunday, sponsored by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
In a battle of field goals, the Bears and the Vikings are tied 6-6. 9 plays, 66 yards, and Robbie Gould will be kicking off, and Artus Pinner is the deep man for the Vikings. Pinner fields it on the 3. Flag down. And the usual call in that instance, coming from where it was, is that an illegal block or hold from the back against the return team. And the camera woman has been tossed down and helped up by Worrell, a gentleman that he is.
She's okay.
There are 2 fouls on the play that will offset. Offsides, kicking team, number 29. Illegal block in the back, number 31. They offset, will re-kick.
Will Hunter, it's 2nd week in a row, partner, that we have seen an offsides on a kickoff.
Yeah, and it's a play that hasn't been around for a while. They've kind of given them a little bit of a grace period, but now what they're saying, the 30-yard line is like a vertical plane. If you break that plane before the ball is kicked in any way, then you're going to be ruled offsides. And they used to give you a little bit of leeway. Sometimes your foot had to be down on the other side of the yard line where the ball was kicked from. But because we had the one last week, we actually talked to the officials before the game to get some clarification on that.
Adrian Peterson went over the line, and it was a rule that was changed. Jerry Seaman, who used to be the head of the officials, said it used to be just your foot. Now it's any part of your body constitutes a foul. Brian Urlacher getting set to go back to work. And the defensive game it's been. The Bears have allowed only 7 points in the first 2 games, 2 field goals today, so that's still only 1 touchdown. And the Vikings themselves have scored only 2 touchdowns in this young season. Minnesota has played the tougher early schedule, beating the 2 teams that made the playoffs last year, the Redskins and the Panthers. And this is by far the toughest opponent for Chicago.
Oh, by far. This is a much improved Minnesota team. I think they're going to surprise a few people during the course of this season.
So Gould kicks off after the offsetting penalties, and Pinner this time returns from the goal line and gets stopped short on the 18-yard line. Well, Tuesday night on Fox, catch an all-new episode of the Emmy Award-winning smash hit House. All new Tuesday at 8, 7 Central, right here on Fox. Viewer discretion is advised. See what Brad Johnston could do. He's passed incredibly accurately today, 15 for 18 for 142 yards.
And you look at right there, a lot of that due to his offensive lineman. Only 1 hit and 3 hurries. A great job against that defensive front of the Bears.
First down from the 19. Chester Taylor. And Taylor showing some good power. The former Baltimore Raven gets out to the 25. And to update the injury to Desmond Clark, suffered a sprained left foot, questionable as to his return.
And the bad part about that is he kind of pulled up in the middle of that route with nobody around him. So that makes you a little bit nervous if you're a Bears fan. And Desmond Clark's gotten off to a great start this season. Hopefully he'll be able to get back with him very quickly.
Travis Taylor's been the top receiver for Brad Johnson with 5 catches for 77 yards. 2nd down and 3. And here comes the pressure up the middle. But Johnson gets it away, and it's Troy Williamson. Flag is down, and Williamson makes the grab at the 38-yard line of the Bears with 2 defenders on his back. 37 yards if it counts.
Now they're going to call it on Troy Williamson.
Interference, offense, number 82. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
I would like to see the top of this because I want to see if Troy Williamson used this to gain a competitive advantage. I thought he just placed his arm on Nathan Vasher's back because of they're so close. They're running stride for stride. He's just coming back to the inside. No call. I don't agree with that call.
I don't either, Moose. I'm with you. That was too little of a bump there for them to call that.
Hey guys, I don't think we've had 4 plays run off without a penalty in this game.
It's hard to establish a flow. It's hard to maintain your efficiency when you've got so many stops and starts in the flow of the game.
2nd down and 13. Back on the 16-yard line. Brad Johnson getting pressure from Hillenmeyer. Completes the screen to Chester Taylor, who drives it out. A helmet is lost as the play is made by Adewale Ogunleye. And for a game break, let's check in again with Chris Rose. Chris.
All right, Dick, a blowout down in Houston. Clinton Portis scoring for the 2nd time, but Mark Brunell started the game 21 for 21 to tie Rich Gannon's single-game record. Redskins up on the Texans 28-7. Back to Dick, Moose, and Goose.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. And 9 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Did he say 21 straight? Mark Brunell started the game with 21 straight? That'll
yeah, he did. That's exactly what I heard.
Yeah.
There's Steve Hutchinson, who has gone off the field. He, of course, was the big pickup. Seattle, they showed signs of missing him, the all-pro left guard, replaced by the former Giant, Jason Whittle. There he is, number 65. 3rd down and 8. Brad Johnson stepping up in the pocket and unable to get it to Muweldi Moore. So 4th down coming up, and it's been a rough day for both quarterbacks to try to get an offense going. No touchdowns yet in this game. Brad Johnson comes off, and Rex Grossman getting set to re-enter.
There's just very little margin for error with these defenses. I mean, your execution has to be very precise. The speed, the pursuit that they have, their defensive lines up front, it's very difficult to gain any yard.
Chris Kluwe will be kicking. Devin Hester back for the Bears. And a good high kick by Kluwe. And Hester at the 37. And he's finally dropped at the 39-yard line by E.J. Henderson. Bears get the ball back in a tie game. 8:32 left in the 3rd. We're tied at 6, and they're the new footballs with the new commissioners. Signature Roger Goodell. Bears 1st down on their 39. Here's Thomas Jones. And Jones tackled by Darian Scott, who started most of last year, starting this game because of the injury to Erasmus James. There is Steve Hutchinson, the guard who was shaken up and out of the game. That was an 8-yard pickup by Jones. And if there's anyone is critical to an offensive line, and maybe in the conference, is Steve Hutchinson.
I don't know if there was a bigger offseason signing than Steve Hutchinson moving from Seattle to Minnesota on both sides of it. Seattle doesn't seem to be the same without him.
Fumbled and recovered by Rex Grossman. So he dove down there, and guess what? There's another penalty as well.
Really? Shocking.
We're going for a
Illegal
record.
Snap, center, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
And it's Olin Kreutz.
You can see it right there. He actually makes a movement like he's going to snap the ball. He can't do that. He's doing that to try and draw the defensive lineman offside. I think that has something to do with the bad blood between him and Williams.
Really promoting that, Tony, but actually there is some basis to it. As you mentioned, and it goes back to last year. They had some unkind things to say about each other, which we will repeat. 2nd down and 7. Thomas Jones trying to go outside and is stopped 2 yards shy of the first down by Antoine Winfield. A 5-yard gain. Under 7.5 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. Dick Stockton along with Daryl Johnston and Tony Siragusa down on the field as our field analyst. Longwell and Gold each have connected on 2 field goals, and that has been it. Otherwise, a defensive battle today. Winner of this game will take over undisputed possession. I know it's only 3 games of the NFC North with a 3-0 record. Neither team has a sack today. It's 3rd down and 2. And Grossman's toss caught for the first down to Berrien. Bernard Berrien does not get out of bounds, but picks up 5 to the 48 of the Vikings.
Some of that decision making that Lovey was talking to Tony Siragusa about coming out at halftime. You know, if it's not there, don't take it. You know, you've got to be able to find your underneath guys, and a good play call by Ron Turner. They get the ball on the outside with enough yards for the first down. And the second half, we're seeing them get into a rhythm. You know, they came out and had a good opening drive in that first half, but were never able to substantiate anything after that.
First down on the 48, and Thomas Jones finds an opening. Thomas Jones bursts to the 30-yard line. 17-yard gain, and that is the biggest gain on the ground for either team today.
Well, it's the commitment to the running game, and they have not had a big run up until this point during the game. Look at the size of this hole for Thomas Jones to get back into. And if you stay with it and you just keep grinding it out, eventually those guys up front are going to get you a run like this.
Great cutback.
5th in the NFC in rushing last year. Over 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns, and that's without a passing threat by the Bears. And on the left side of the line, let's see, as both teams point, nothing unusual about that. Two flags, actually. 3 are thrown. There are 3 penalty flags on the field.
Maybe those are the 3 guys that threw them, trying to explain their points to each other.
Apparently.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 93. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So ultimately, it's Kevin Williams. 5-yard penalty against the defense, and there's Thomas Jones, who didn't do much on his first 10 carries and then exploded for 17. And after the penalty, it'll be 1st and 5 for the Bears on the 26. So the Bears threatening here in a 6-6 game. Here's Thomas Jones again. He'll get the first down. So remember what Lovie Smith said, with all of the passing abilities of the team last week. He says, we are a running team, and that's what our trademark is, and they're showing it right here.
Well, the passing game, what Rex Grossman has done with the passing game has been a bonus this season so far. But here's what it's all about. It's about a commitment to the run, and you see how Thomas Jones gets stronger as the game progresses. Here we are in the 3rd quarter. We're starting to get some of those big runs finally. It's that offensive line wearing down the defense.
And a first down at the 20. And again, movement in the line as Grossman gets pushed back.
We got 3 of them again.
But this time a conference of 4 officials.
Yeah, the guy felt left out last time.
There's a game going on inside the game.
Encroachment, defense, 94, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's Pat Williams.
I think Olin Kreutz, with him moving the ball and jarring and moving his fingers, getting these guys off balance. They can't seem to get a rhythm, trying to get up as close as they can to the ball, but he's drawing them off sides left and right.
Hey, Tony, I know it's loud down there. Can you hear any hard count cadences? Because, you know, these guys are jumping for Minnesota. Now, also, you've even got Olin Kreutz flinching at times. Maybe Rex is getting a real hard count with kind of a little flex in his hand.
I don't know. I'll keep an eye on it, though.
First down and 5 on the 15. And here is Thomas Jones again. And Jones with another gain of about 3 yards, with Fred Smoot making the tackle. And you're absolutely right. You really work on wearing out the defense. There's Mike Tomlin, who is the defensive coordinator, who came from Tampa Bay, and Fred Smoot is down. He did not start the game, was scheduled to. It was Cedric Griffin, the rookie, at cornerback, and then Smoot came in, and now Griffin will replace the former Redskin. And we're going to have a timeout with 4:23 remaining. The Bears are threatening, still no touchdowns. We'll be back. 6-6 the score. The big question, Moose, what do you do with old Dante Culpepper jerseys?
What a great job of recycling some jerseys right there.
Hey, they're expensive. You got to do what you can.
Makeshift 14s out there. Thomas Jones is going to be knocked back for a loss. So the Vikings defense with Kelechi Udeze coming up strong, loss of 1.
Well, with both of these defenses, you've got to make a decision and commit to it. Thomas Jones, once you start hopping and stopping your feet, you're in trouble because both of these groups have tremendous speed and tremendous pursuit to the ball.
3rd down and 3, and this is, here in the second half, a critical 3rd down play in a tight game with no touchdowns yet, just field goals. 3rd and 3 on the Viking 13. Grossman giving ground, puts it up and incomplete. Rashid Davis, and good pressure once again. Whenever the Vikings have been in doubt, Moose, they put pressure on the middle and flush Grossman out.
They really have, and they've been doing a great job of getting it right up into the middle. Both inside linebackers comes. Thomas Jones is a little bit, he's a little bit late getting inside. He's just got to lunge and try and chop him down.
So now Robbie Gould will try to put the Bears in front. He has connected from 41 and 24 yards. This will be a 31-yard attempt to try to break the tie. And the kick by Gould is good, and the Bears have taken a 9-6 lead. Robbie Gould, a perfect 9 for 9 in this young season. Chicago in front for the first time. And welcome back to Minneapolis, to the Metrodome, where the Bears lead 9-6. And beginning, we're talking about the crafty veteran and Brad Johnston and the young guy and Rex Grossman, and how they would answer the question of who would win the game today.
Well, I think Rex has done a good job. He came out and had a good start to the game, but then he got into a lull after that point through really the remainder of the first half. He's come out in the second half and moved the ball efficiently, taking Chicago down to get the lead. Now we get to see Brad Johnston, the wily vet. We'll see what he's got in store for the Chicago defense on this series.
As we mentioned, Brad Johnston, of course, practiced against this very defense when he was a member of the Buccaneers every day, so he knows it well. And the kickoff, Artus Pinner on the return for Minnesota, and Pinner is clobbered just shy of the 20-yard line. I want you to stay tuned to Fox Sports for the second game of our doubleheader. You'll see either the Giants and the Seahawks. Those are the other games. Of course, Seattle 2-0 in this young year. They have won 11 straight at home, and last year they beat the Giants in a thrilling overtime game. Jay Feely missed 3 field goals in that game, 2 in the extra session. So it'll be Eli Manning, Matt Hasselbeck and company. Most of you will see that game coming up next. First down at the 19, and the Vikings trailing for the first time today. Brad Johnson up the middle, and the pass caught by Jermaine Wiggins, his first catch of the game, and close to the first down.
And that was how Minnesota had come out during the beginning of the game. They'd come out and established the passing game and kind of moved down that field on the opening drive, and they've kind of gotten away. And we talk about commitment to the running game, but you know, at this stage, get back to what you were doing successfully early on.
Jamar Williams was the bear you saw on the sideline when they were working on him. So there's been a lot of that going on in this game. There is a better look at Williams. It'll be second down and less than a yard. Play action. There was a safety blitz. This pass caught by Troy Williamson, and a first down beyond the 35, a pickup of 10 on a quick toss from Brad Johnson.
Yeah, and it's not much Nathan Vasher can do. He's on a bail technique, which means when the ball comes out, he's bailing out a little bit right at that snap, and it's actually even thrown kind of on the back shoulder of Troy Williamson. So not a whole lot Nathan was going to do on that route.
Troy Williamson, who was inactive for 6 games last year, and he came to the Vikings in the Randy Moss trade, along with their middle linebacker, Napoleon Harris. Harris on the deal, and it was Williamson in a draft. Handoff. Chester Taylor, one of his better runs of the game, carries it out to the 45-yard line, gets 7 yards, and Brian Urlacher brings him down. There's the rushing stories you see by the numbers. Hasn't been a big running game for either team today.
You know, Brad Johnston, just watching him down here on the field, is being very patient, making sure he takes all the game clock away and waiting to see if he can pick up anything from the defense that they give him, whether it's going to be a blitz or they're going to run 4 men. He's being very patient in the pocket right now.
He's patient. He doesn't make many mistakes. Knows where he's going with the ball. And as we said, has won everywhere he's been. 2nd down and 3. Chester Taylor. And Taylor not going to get close this time as Urlacher again makes the tackle. No gain on the play. And it'll be 3rd down.
Well, that play there is one of the staples of the running game for Minnesota, but sometimes I think one of the reasons we haven't seen it a whole lot today, they seem to have had more success going between the tackles instead of like that one on the perimeter, is the pursuit and the aggressive style. I mean, Brian Urlacher, we've seen him on a couple of occasions just getting right into the backfield because you're trying to run that type of play to get onto the corner.
So Chester Taylor trying to handle the running game, a low miles guy. After backing up Jamal Lewis in Baltimore, said Brad Childress. 3rd down and 2. Pressure coming on Brad Johnson. He's not going to get away this time. Never the mobile quarterback, but the Bears gave him no chance. A loss of 6, and Tommy Harris coming in and getting the sack, and it's the first one for either team today.
Well, that's amazing that it's our first sack of the game when you think about these defenses. But Tommy Harris, he is a great interior defensive player and not a guy that's stopping up the run game. He's also a great pass rusher, and you get a little bit of evidence of it right there.
That's 9 of the 10 sacks that this team has are made from their defensive line. That's a great stat.
Pretty good. Time has run out of this 3rd quarter, and Hester at the 6-yard line, and down he goes at the 12. So Hester is down, and the Bears celebrating over their defense. First sack, a 53-yard punt, and that is the end of the 3rd quarter. With the score, the Bears 9 and the Vikings 6. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a word from your local Fox station.
You're watching Fox NFL Sunday.
And we start the 4th quarter. Brad Childress in his first year called Andy Reid, his former boss in Philadelphia. He says, I got to learn how to enjoy this. It's been kind of painful. He says, you know, it's more of a relief when you win than elation. And of course, Lovie Smith has been even keel since he's gotten to Chicago, and he's gotten results.
Well, and football is very hard. You know, when you win a game, it seems like you're expected to win, and you don't take as much enjoyment out of that. And when you lose a game, it's devastating. So the highs are not as high as you think they should be, and the lows are a lot lower than you want them to be. So, yeah, you got to find a way to enjoy it when you can.
And there's Thomas Jones. That's what he has done, a much more productive second half for the Bears. First down on the 12. And Grossman wants to get out of trouble. He's in his own end zone. Flag is down, and it's intercepted and put in by Antoine Winfield. There's a penalty marker down. And Grossman threw it into the hands of Winfield, who took it in.
Holding, number 74. Penalty is declined. Touchdown.
I don't think you could get a better example of what Lovie Smith talked about coming out at halftime. Rex Grossman has to understand when there's not an opportunity to make a play. There's nothing Thomas Jones is going to be able to do with that ball. You're looking at a possible safety for grounding in the end zone. They get the worst case, a pick for a touch by Antoine Winfield.
And Ryan Longwell with the extra point, the first touchdown scored. And it's done by the defensive unit. And the Vikings have taken a 13-9 lead. The first interception of the season by Minnesota. A 7-yard run-in by Antoine Winfield. And takeaways is the one thing that they hadn't done. And they get a big one here. And Minnesota, with 7 seconds gone by in this 4th quarter, regains the lead 13-9.
I don't understand, with your running game working so well, why backed up? You want to go and throw the ball. Amazing to me.
You know, we can go back to the decision by Devin Hester on that punt. He fielded the ball at the 6-yard line. You know, when I was with the Dallas Cowboys, we drew a line in the sand at the 8. The returner stood on the 8-yard line. If the ball went over his head, he let it go. You take your chances that it goes into the end zone and you get the ball at the 20-yard line. He fielded it at the 6-yard line. I think that was a mistake. That brought on the poor field position, and then everything just went from bad to worse for the Chicago Bears.
And back deep, Rashid Davis for the Bears. So the first touchdown of this game comes early in the 4th, and it comes on a turnover. And the Vikings defense far better than it used to be. Davis on the return and tackled from behind by Greg Blue. 29-yard return by Rashid Davis. So Rex Grossman going back to work after a huge mistake. And let's see what he does as he starts from the 26.
Yes. Let's see what he does. Let's see how he responds to the first adversity he's really faced this season. He's come back from injuries, but now he's in a game. He's had 2 great weeks at the quarterback position. He's in trouble right now. Let's see what he does.
And coming on the field late was one of the Vikings, Thomas Jones, on the carry.
I don't know. I just thought that was a real late blitz by Ray Edwards. He's coming from the sideline.
Minnesota. This is their first charge timeout.
Vikings call a timeout coming out of nowhere onto the field. Kind of took us by surprise. So that is the first timeout of the second half by the Vikings.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by McDonald's, by FedEx for all your shipping needs, by State Farm, great service and great rates. You can get it all from State Farm, and by Rocky Mountain Refreshing Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Vikings up 13-9, having called their first timeout. Rex Grossman has seen his passer rating plummet a bit. He has thrown 2 interceptions, no touchdowns, of course. Grossman giving ground, and Jones is down on the ground as he attempts a screen pass. Tell you, Minnesota's defense huge in this game.
Yeah, but they're pulling out all the stops. They're even blitzing from the sideline. Here you come. I've seen them come from the secondary, from the linebacker level, but I've never seen them come all the way from the sideline.
That's master disguising right there.
Darren Sharper was serious. He told us, hey, we're going to bring some stuff that Rex Grossman has never seen before. I don't think anybody has seen the defensive end blitzing from the sideline.
I've never seen it.
Second down and 10 from the 26. Jason McKee is the tailback right here, and on the slant and looking the other way was Muhammad. The pass thrown behind him, and right now the Bears unquestionably out of sync offensively, looking at 3rd and 10.
Just one play that Lovey had warned him about and guarded against, and it's really just totally taken this game over. And I mean, Howie and Jimmy talked about it at the halftime show. It's not how many great plays you make, it's how many few poor plays. And Lovey had talked to Rex about it before the half. He still felt he could get something done, and boy, they've got to do something right now to get this crowd out of the game and get some momentum back.
3rd down and 10, and the crowd in full voice. And Grossman's pass, and Berrien makes the catch at the 40-yard line. Bernard Berrien, cutting toward the middle, picks it up for 14 yards, and Dwight Smith on the tackle quiets the crowd, and a first down Chicago.
Great play call by Ron Turner. Great execution by Bernard Berrien and Rex Grossman. The one throw that he has really done well with this afternoon is the deep in route. You've got a critical snap. The crowd is really getting into it. You've just had a pick for a touchdown on your previous series. Go back to something that you have confidence in.
Berrien with another big day. Thomas Jones, and he is hit by Dwight Smith, who has an interception today, which set up a Viking 3-pointer and holds Jones to a gain of 1. Jones with 52 yards on 15 carries, averaging 3.5 yards per clip. Lovie Smith not enamored with the Bears rushing coming in when they average under 3 yards a carry. 2nd and 9. Grossman, and grabbing it, Muhsin Muhammad, So a couple of good catches. Varian and Muhammad into Viking territory with a 15-yarder.
Go to the opposite side of the field to Muhsin Muhammad, just going up the field. He gets Antoine Winfield to turn his hips. Good timing. The ball is delivered before he's coming out of his break. Once Antoine Winfield turns those hips, it's going to be hard for him to get back and make a play on the ball.
You know, in past years, this team never could stretch the field with passes like they're doing to try to get back in it.
No, it was classic dink and dunk. And, you know, very rarely did you see the ball get beyond 10, 15 yards down the field.
So now the Bears on the Viking 44. Again, play action. Grossman has a lot of time. And another completion inside the 30 to Muhammad. This time it's smooth on the coverage and a gain of 15. And so Rex Grossman hitting his receivers for big chunks of yardage, and the Bears threaten.
But it's off of the play action fakes. You know, you're getting those linebackers to bite. You're bringing pressure to begin with, so you're taking people out of the linebacker secondary level, and now you're throwing a little bit of play action in on top of that, so you're getting the guys who are still there to step up a little bit, and they're getting these routes right in behind that area in the void.
It's even stumping right now the defensive lineman, that play action.
First down on the 28 of the Vikings. And the pitch to Thomas Jones, trying to go wide and make something out of very little, and maybe even picks up a yard on the play. Brian Urlacher, who says, I didn't formally watch our offense, wasn't exciting, but now I'm up there watching because we're throwing the ball. So he's a great spectator on the sidelines.
Yeah, but I don't think he's had that scowl on his face the last 2 weeks when he's been watching the offense. He's gotten up to watching because it's been exciting. Right now he needs them to get down and get some points.
Bears have gained 46 yards on 7 plays, and they're adjusting the game clock now, and now running it with Muhsin Muhammad over 100 yards with 8 catches. Second down and 9. Up the middle, pressure. Grossman goes down. And making the play was Darian Scott from behind, and the Bears will lose 3, and so Minnesota with their first sack of Grossman today.
They did a great job of picking up the blitz here in the middle. Rex Grossman just can't go and get those happy feet. He's got to stay in the pocket, look for his receiver downfield. If he just stays right there, he's okay. When you start moving, you're going to get them ends coming off the blocks, and that's when you're going to get sacked.
Yeah, now you got to compliment Fred Smoot, Antoine Winfield, Darren Sharper, Dwight Smith, Roniel Whitaker. They were 5 guys back there, but they had 3 guys out on the route. Rex Grossman had nowhere to go with that ball.
There's the current drive and the 9th play coming up. 3rd down and 13 from the 31. And Grossman drills it, and the receiver is down. Antoine Winfield, and Muhsin Muhammad had fallen. Was not hit, but had fallen. And so 4th down coming up.
Boy, they got lucky right there. This is a timing-based offense. That's a deep post. The deep, skinny post. That ball is coming off of Rex Grossman's hand before Muhsin Muhammad makes his break. He slips going to the post route. Very fortunate this ball didn't get intercepted.
There's a lot of green in front of him if it did.
So a 49-yard attempt. Robbie Gould is perfect today and perfect on the season. And the field goal is good. So Robbie Gould, with 4 field goals today, has accounted for all of Chicago's points. They trail the Vikings by 1.
Discretion advised.
Bears climb within 1 of the Vikings. Rex Grossman with a good drive, ending in a field goal, hitting Muhsin Muhammad. And as Daryl mentioned, unfortunate for the Bears that Muhammad had slipped on that pass prior to the field goal attempt. The back deep is Artus Penner for the Vikings, and Gould will kick off for the Bears. Played less than 5 minutes here in the 4th quarter. Penner on the return. And gets tripped up and down at the 26-yard line. 18-yard return. Timeout. Early here in the 4th.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Visa. Go on, live life. And remember that no matter what it takes, life takes Visa.
And back here in Minneapolis, the Vikings leading 13-12. Robbie Gould capping the 43-yard drive with his career-long 49-yard field goal, whose previous best was from 45 yards. First down from the 26 for Brad Johnston, and the pass out incomplete. Looked like a lot of movement in the line. And right now, for a game break, let's return to Chris Rose in Los Angeles.
All right, Dick, a warning. This is not Michael Vick. I repeat, this is not Michael Vick. It's Peyton Manning with his first rushing touchdown in 4 years. He's also thrown one as the Colts lead the Jags by 14. Back to Dick, Moose, and Goose.
Is that Michael Vick?
It is not Michael Vick.
Oh, okay.
Not Mike. 4 years. Peyton hadn't had a rushing time.
Right.
4 years.
You may get to like it. 2nd and 10. Pump fake. Going deep for Williamson. And the pass incomplete, overthrown. Tillman on the coverage. 3rd down and 10. And this is where the Vikings have to be careful, Daryl, because the Bears have run off 17 more plays in the second half than the Vikings, thanks to going to the running game to Thomas Jones. And if it's going to be 3 passes and out, then the Bears will have a big advantage as this game goes on as far as wearing down that defense on the field too long.
That's how the Chicago Bears are built. That's how Brad Childress is trying to build the Minnesota Vikings. When you talk about running the football, it's a commitment to the run. So when you get into these situations here late in the game, you can take time off the clock.
So it's 3rd down and 10. Brad Johnson's pass. This one caught. Billy McMullen, and a first down at the 46-yard line. Danielle Manning on the tackle, and a 20-yard pickup to the former Eagle who didn't get to play too much.
Well, there's 2 ways to defend 3rd and 10. You can bring pressure and force routes to break off or try and hurry the quarterback so he doesn't have time, or you can drop people back in coverage. The Bears dropped everybody back, rushed 4, dropped 7 into zone coverage. Good job of Billy McMullen finding that little hole in the zone.
3 years with the Eagles, where Brad Childress came from. First down to Chester Taylor. Here's Taylor with the run. Chester Taylor. Nathan Basher couldn't bring him down, and finally Danielle Manning, the rookie, and a big run as Urlacher first missed Taylor. He winds up with 24.
This is almost identical to the play last week against Carolina at the critical part in the game. You just keep pounding the ball in the middle. Eventually Chester Taylor is going to start to rip some big runs, just like Thomas Jones has done. That is almost the exact same run that they had in overtime against Carolina last week.
He was a workhorse back in college with Toledo. In fact, finished in 1999 second to LaDainian Tomlinson in rushing average in the NCAA. Another first down and another call to Taylor, and this time the hold closes up after a gain of 1 thanks to Hunter Hillenmeyer. So the Vikings now in Bear territory with under 9 minutes to go, clinging to the 1-point advantage.
I've just been really impressed with Chester Taylor because you mentioned what his career was at Toledo, but then he gets to Baltimore, and some people could say he's a low mileage back because he was behind Jamal Lewis, but you also wonder what's going to happen to him when he becomes your featured back. I don't think anybody thought Chester Taylor could carry the ball as long and as many times as he has for Minnesota to start this season. 2nd
down and 8 on the 28-yard line. Pressure from the outside from behind Brad Johnson. He gets it off to Travis Taylor, and Taylor is tackled at the 23, a 5-yard pickup. So they need 3 yards with Charles Tillman. Goose, you've seen Chester Taylor, of course, in Baltimore, not necessarily when you played, and your thoughts of what he could do.
I just think he has great vision. He finds the hole, and I think he's doing a great job today. But looking on the other side of the ball, the Chicago Bears just aren't tackling. And when you're not tackling, it makes you look a lot better than you really are sometimes.
I think the thing that impresses me, he's 5'11", 213. He does not run like he's that size. I mean, he is running physically between the tackles.
He is running downhill, yes.
Big 24-yard gain. Now it's 3rd down and 3, and here's Brad Johnson under pressure from Ogunleye, and the pass thrown incomplete. So Adewale Ogunleye chasing down Brad Johnson. 4th down coming up, and Ryan Longwell will come on. Longwell, the former Packer, and a great pickup, and now with the luxury, you might say, of kicking indoors for the home games anyway. This will be a 41-yard attempt. He has connected on 3 thus far. Longwell. And the kick is good. And that is his third field goal. 3 now for Longwell. And once again, the Vikings are up by 4. Well, right now, if you're the Bears, you're saying you need a touchdown to put you in front in this game. And we have not had a touchdown by any of the offensive units today.
Do we really expect anything different except field goals and defensive touchdowns today? I think it's been everything we expected. Both teams came out. They've committed to the run. It's been a physical game. It's been a field goal fest. We've got a defensive touchdown. Brad Johnston did a great job there. The wily vet takes his team down, gets some points. Let's see. Now it's Rex's turn.
Rashid Davis bringing it out from the end zone. And down he goes at the 21. Well, Wednesday night on Fox, the best defense is a good offense on an all-new Justice. Wednesday at 9, 8 Central, right after an all-new Bones on Fox. Viewer discretion is advised. You love that show.
Well, you know, I'm a closure guy. You know, they make you think through the whole show, but then they wrap everything up real nice at the end. And I can't take those open-ended things.
You don't like to be left hanging.
I don't know. I don't need to draw conclusions. I want definitive ending.
Bears have passed 20 more times than they've run. Will pass again and complete to Bernard Berrien. And Berrien will get about 8 yards. And brings it out now to the 29-yard line with Winfield and Sharper defending. He'll mark it at the 29. And it'll be 2nd down and 2. Ryan Longwell with 3 field goals. Robbie Gould with 4. And Antoine Winfield with his first career touchdown on an interception against Rex Grossman. This time handing off to Thomas Jones and knocked back. Good run defense on 2nd and short by the Vikings, led by their middle linebacker Napoleon Harris.
You know, I think we hear all these coaches moving around that had their roots in Tampa Bay, but Minnesota plays a much different style. Napoleon Harris is allowed to freelance a little bit from the middle linebacker position. It's a pressure-based system. They have a lot of the same foundation things that you'd see in Tampa and Chicago and Detroit, but Mike Tomlin has really taken this defense and really added a pressure element that doesn't exist in the other ones.
Bunches on the right, 3 wide receivers for the Bears. He goes left with it and throws behind Berrien. So second time this afternoon that Rex Grossman had a mix-up with the receiver on the pattern, and 4th down coming up, and the Bears will punt.
Minnesota really starting to take control of the line of scrimmage. Rex must have felt a little hurried there. He's been really accurate during the course of the day. The slant routes, the deep ins. Haven't seen him miss somebody that badly yet.
Brad Maynard punting for the 3rd time, and Mewelde Moore back for the Vikings. Heading toward the near sideline, Moore. And pushed out of bounds. And the Vikings with the ball and a 4-point lead with under 6 minutes remaining. Stay tuned to Fox Sports for the second game of our doubleheader. You'll see one of these 3 games, the Giants and the Seahawks. Giants coming back with a huge comeback in overtime against the Eagles last week. Eagles, 49ers, and Rams, Cardinals also. But most of you will see the Giants against the Seahawks. Second half of our Fox NFL doubleheader. There's nothing like Sunday afternoon football. Isn't it great? No. That's what it was meant. Football meant to be played, and so many games to watch. There you see the play selection where the Vikings have 10 more passes than runs. This is Chester Taylor, and Taylor picking up about 3. So you have 2 teams that like to run, have thrown the ball mostly today. Taylor gets 3.
Well, you're going to take what the defense is giving you, and a lot of the throws, especially by Chicago, have been off play action. And when you've got that running game, you're going to be able to utilize play action, and you don't want to bang your head against a brick wall all day. So you don't want to be running into that Chicago front every single snap.
Taylor has gained 70 yards on 18 carries. Had his first 100-yard game for the Vikings last week, with 113 against the Panthers. 2nd down and 7. And the pitch to Taylor, cutting upfield, and runs into 3 Bears, including Lance Briggs. 2-yard pickup, but using the clock here in the 4-point lead. Under 5 minutes remaining. It'll be 3rd down and 5.
This is that area that Minnesota wanted to be in during the course of the football game, was the 3rd and 3 to 6s. We'll see if they can get this conversion and continue to take some time off the clock.
Bears in their 3rd straight division game. Started out with wins over the Packers and the Lions. Moving up in class today against the Vikings. 3rd and 5. Handoff to Noeldi Moore. Gets hit once. Keeps going. And Moore gets a first down. What a brilliant piece of running by Moore. 8 yards and a huge first down for the Vikings as the clock runs to nearly 4 minutes.
We talk about it over and over again. Missed tackles is the reason why they got the first down on this particular play. He gets hit 2 or 3 times, like you see right here.
You know, there may be some missed tackles, Tony, but I'm not taking anything away from this effort by Noeldi Moore. This is just a great individual effort at a critical point in the game. Now, he just ran through 2 of your best tacklers, Brian Urlacher and Mike Brown, with some spins. They weren't, you know, not sloppy tackling. That was just a great effort.
No, I don't want to take anything away from them, but they got to tackle better if they want to win this game.
On the 41-yard line, and here's Chester Taylor. Just can't break the tackle. He picks up 2 yards with Urlacher on the tackle. We could see this again.
I mean, just watch. He's going to get in. Here comes Brian. You know, nice move there. But Mike Brown, he shrugs him off, just spinning, keeping his feet moving, lowering his shoulder at the end of the run. That is such a huge snap in the game. And if Minnesota goes on to win this game, you'll forget about it. But that was huge.
Looked like he crawled for a couple there at the end, too. They didn't give him.
Without the ball, Tony. Meanwhile, the Bears have used up a timeout. That's their second. They have 1 left. And I'll tell you how important that was, because you don't make it, you've got to punt. The Bears get the ball with some decent time. Now they're going to run the ball, use some time down. Only 1 timeout left, and the Bears need a touchdown. That was huge.
Probably forced them to burn that last timeout, too.
And we want to thank our outstanding production and technical team today for their work in the game. Game produced by Bob Stenner, directed by Sandy Grossman. The associate directors, Charles McDonald. The associate producer, Wayne Wilson. Broadcast associate, Andy Cavanaugh. Sideline producer, Eddie Toner. Technical producer, Bob Mueller. The technical director, Joe Abenda. The tape supervisor, Michael Nathanson. Pre-game show produced by Scott Ackerson and directed by Bob Levy. 2nd down and 8. Vikings on their 43. Going to the air, and the pass intended for Williams.
We just can't forget somebody in Hawaii, very important to Bob Stenner, Michael Kiefer. We just want to wish him a happy 17th birthday, Michael Kiefer.
And watching in Hawaii at a much earlier time than this, we also want to thank our studio technical supervisor, Jack Simmons. The senior producer is Bill Brown, and the executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. And thanks to our crew up here, our spotter, Chris Visser, Rick Odioso, our statistician, and Mike Eldridge and Bill Cullen down in the graphics trucks, busily doing their thing. Jason Whittle is now at right guard with Artis Hicks, who's had a shoulder problem, out, and they fumble. And let's see if Aguinlier recovers. If it does, it's big. It was Tommy Harris who came in and forced it, and the Bears get it back. Aguinlier on the recovery. So just when the Bears look like they're in trouble, they get a break here.
Penetration right as the ball is handed off. Tommy Harris beats Steve Hutchinson around the outside. He's there right as Brad Johnson is handing it off. It's not much Chester Taylor could do on that one. He's gonna throw that one all on himself, but there's not much he could have done.
So just when the Vikings were starting to feel good about themselves, and there it is again, the fumble and Aguinlier's recovery. Now the Bears are on the Viking 37 with 3:25 to go. Only 1 timeout left. Play action for Grossman. Fires, and just over the head of Berrien downfield. So each team has turned it over twice, and the Vikings have capitalized on both of Chicago's turnovers. There's the timeout story with the Bears having 1 left. It'll be 2nd and 10 on the Minnesota 37. 4-point lead for the Vikings. Can the Bears take advantage of the huge break here in forcing the turnover? And the handoff to Thomas Jones, and Jones is hit at the 35-yard line, gaining about 2. That was Pat Williams.
That wasn't a hit, that was a clothesline. He stuck his arm out there. Here he is right here, sticks his arm out, boom! I mean, that's why you need them 300, 330 guys in there, man. They got that arm that weighs about 40 pounds.
Man, that's like something from the longest yard.
3rd down and 8. Berrien and Rashid Davis go out to the right. Muhsin Muhammad to the left. Grossman. And the pass caught by Muhsin Muhammad, and it's a 1st down inside the 25. Smoot did everything he could do on the coverage, but the Bears pick up 11.
I don't know right now, Rex Grossman, and whether it's Bernard Berrien or Muhsin Muhammad, I don't know if you can defend this route much better than Fred Smoot did right there. That is the one route that every time there's been a critical play today, Ron Turner has dialed up and the Bears have come through.
9 catches, 118 yards for Muhsin Muhammad, and a 1st down on the 24 of Minnesota. Bears need a touchdown to take the lead. And here's Grossman, and he swings it out to Thomas Jones, but he is crunched immediately by a couple of Vikings, Udeza and Williams. No gain on the play, and we wind down to the 2-minute warning. 1:58 showing on the clock. This one going down to the wire in Minneapolis.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Ford Mustang. Bold moves. They happen every day.
One of these teams will go 3-0 and have the early lead in the NFC North. Both winning their first 2. The Bears haven't beaten the Vikings here in the Metrodome in 5 years. Last year they lost in the final game of the regular year, but didn't play hardly any of their starters. They had already clinched the division. Now looking to take the lead. 2nd and 10 on the 24. The 2-minute warning is history. Grossman with time, fires, caught, touchdown, Rashid Davis. 24 yards and the first offensive score of the game by either team.
Well, we talked about wanting to see how Rex Grossman was going to respond to adversity. He's done quite a good job. Roniel Whitaker's in trail coverage. He's in trouble from the get-go. He has no help over the top. Dwight Smith coming in late, but I don't know what happened there with the coverage, because unless you got help over the top, you want to be behind a guy in the red zone.
First offensive touchdown of the game, and Rex Grossman elated over on the sideline, and Robbie Gould for the extra point. And this crowd has been silenced emphatically. The extra point is good, and the Bears have taken the late lead with 1:53 on the clock.
Rex Grossman, I mean, the great start, the lull in the second half, the critical mistake here in the second half to give Minnesota the lead, but he's taken the Bears down 2 consecutive drives to get 10 points.
And the first fourth-quarter touchdown pass for Rex Grossman, and how that has to feel to this point, considering the misfortune that he had 2 years ago, suffering torn knee ligaments in the 3rd game of the regular season. And Rashid Davis with his first career touchdown grab. So that's what the good teams do. They find a way to win. Right now, all the Bears have done is find a way to lead with 1:53 to go.
Yeah, let's not forget that whole drive started with Tommy Harris stripping the ball from Chester Taylor, giving the offense a short field right after we just saw a great individual effort by Mewelde Moore, which really I thought put all the momentum back to Minnesota.
You saw Troy Williamson back on the goal line, ready to return the kick.
You talk about finding a way to win. That is what the Minnesota Vikings have done the first 2 weeks against Washington, against Carolina. They're not unaccustomed to being in this situation this season. Their games have come down to the wire, and they have found a way to win each of those first 2 weeks.
Robbie Gould will kick off, and Troy Williamson, who started the game as a kickoff returner, gave way to Pinner. Now back in there because they need him. Returns from the 8-yard line. Troy Williamson. And Williamson still on his feet, gets down close to the 40. a great return. And for those of you in the home markets of our late games, in a moment you'll be leaving this game and we will be switching you to the start of your game. Troy Williamson with a 32-yard kickoff return. So Brad Johnston has decent field position, starting with the 38. The Vikings have 2 timeouts left. So Rex Grossman coming through when they needed him and making amends for that interception that turned into a touchdown by Winfield of the Vikes. Weldy Moore is the tailback. Under pressure, the screen, one-handed catch by Moore. And the Bears make sure, knock him down at the 40-yard line, a gain of 3, and it was Urlacher and Charles Tillman from the secondary. And Brad Johnston said, let's hurry up and move it along as the clock is running. Field goal would tie this game. And there is the pass off the hands of Williamson, incomplete. Ooh, that could have given the Vikings ideal spot at the Bears 40.
That's a big drop. Troy Williams had a couple of drops in week 1, came back real well last week against Carolina, but that one right there, got to make that catch in this situation.
3rd down and 7 with 1:18 on the clock. Ryan Longwell only hopes he gets an opportunity. Bears lead by 3. And it's a handoff to Moore. Weldy Moore stops short of the 1st down as he gets to the 46. Ogunleye and Briggs, but mostly Ogunleye on the play, gains 5. And a timeout called by the Vikings. They have 1 left, and it'll be 4th down and 2. And the moment of truth upon us here.
Yeah, gutsy call right there by the Minnesota Vikings. That situation caught me by surprise. I didn't expect run.
And very nearly got the job done.
Yeah, on that play.
So it's all here for the Vikings on 4th down and 2.
What were they last week? 3 for 3 on 4th downs?
Yes. They need one here. And here's our game summary. And Vikings out rushing the Bears. Penalty-filled contest. 4 field goals, including a career long for Robbie Gould, tying a career high. Home team has won 7 of the last 8. The big play, Grossman to Davis for the touchdown, 24 yards to give the Bears the lead. 4th down and 2 for Minnesota. And they go to the fade, and it's Williamson, and the pass is incomplete. So Brad Johnston was going for the big play on 4th down, and the Bears will take over on downs. And this is an elated bunch of Chicagoans on the sideline, and a dejected look on the face of Brad Childress.
Well, I'm kind of surprised on that play call too. You know, the one on 3rd down worked. Here on 4th down, Bears bringing a little bit of pressure, but that ball's got to come out so quick. It's got to be so perfectly executed. There's just no margin for error in 4th and 2 with the game on the line. I would have liked some options.
Vikings have 1 timeout left, but the Bears will just take the knee with 1:05 to go and heading for a victory. And so Rex Grossman coming into play, a much improved Viking team, especially on the defensive side. Final timeout called by Minnesota. They're out now, and for the Bears, who came into the game having allowed only 7 points, 1 touchdown, still have not allowed another offensive touchdown in the season. It's pretty good after 3 games.
It's very good after 3 games, and you know, to be expected by that Bears defense. But you know, Rex Grossman, I think he answered a lot of questions today. You know, he faced some adversity, had a critical mistake in the 2nd half, led his team to 10 4th quarter points.
And the big play before the touchdown was Tommy Harris forcing the fumble from Chester Taylor, recovered by Ogunleye, and that set up the winning play. And this was the fumble recovered by Ogunleye, and then Rex Grossman finding Rasheed Davis in the end zone for a 24-yard touchdown. And the Vikings looking to get a field goal attempt to tie it up. could not manage it and missed on 4th down, and this will be it. So it'll be a heartbreaking loss for the Vikings, who now will drop on the season to 2-1, and the Bears remain undefeated at 3-0 as they have defeated every NFC North team in the first 3 games of the season.
Well, there's no moral victories in the NFL, and Minnesota can take some solace in the fact that they played well today, but their expectations have risen. Brad Childress has got these guys thinking about something bigger than they've been in a while.
And the final score, the Chicago Bears 19, the Vikings 16. Dick Stockton for Daryl Johnston and Tony Siragusa saying so long from Minneapolis. Stay tuned to Fox Sports for the second game of our doubleheader right after these messages. A tight, taut game here in Minnesota. So long, everybody.